Very good.
Live on YouTube. And listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.
Good evening. They are 1-0 down already to PSG, and welcome back to the World of Football podcast. It's been a while, a lot's happened, but we got a bumper show for you tonight. A lot of people are going to be sounding like broken records with some of the stuff that's happened and some of the topics we're going to get into. So, a lot to discuss tonight. We're going to hammer a lot of people on a tier list later on. No spoilers for that just yet, but let's welcome in the boys. So, we're going to start with the man that side, Mr. Julio Leshy. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, good. My 3-month hibernation from YouTube is over, so it's good to finally be back. And I've missed you, Nathan. I really have.
Yeah, I knew, bud.
And it's good to see you as well, Reece. You're looking well, all things considered.
Paul Russell on the side. Man, like, respect on Reece, man. Respect on the steel chair. And by the way, that guy has been smashing it. The man below me. WrestleMania week. Looking forward to it, bud?
I hope so. I mean, it's not been particularly great. I mean, he's still nutting one out over Liv Morgan, the bloody blind fuck. yeah, he's got no defense for that because he knows it's true. You know what? Actually, I've missed this channel. It has been a good laugh. So let's get some fun out of it. Let's just see where we can go because this is a good one. And yeah, Steel Chair's on a mad one at the minute. I'm hoping they really kick off. Got a quiz on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
For Mania weekend, so I do have a WrestleMania quiz. So Nathan, if you want in on that, you're more than welcome. I'm hoping to do as a big panel show.
Nice.
And screw a few people that are from Ireland out of winning it, but that's just that's just natural. But nah, it should be a good week, obviously. And we'll see. And obviously, because it's the bank holiday weekend, I get paid on Thursday, so that'll be useful. And it's now 4.5 months until my driving test. So I'm cooking down the road, and I'll eventually be popping in to see you, mate. I'll not be going through Northampton. I might actually, to be fair, just to link up with Julio once. I think he deserves that.
Make sure to put some defense mechanisms on the cube. By the way, that is such a wicked card.
I'm going to put anti-Albanian stuff on it, so I'll probably put a picture of Zabaleta losing as Albania manager, and that'll probably protect the cube. I'm only kidding. I actually have a funny take. I actually think Albania are going to win their next qualification group.
That's a good take, actually.
It's a bold take. I actually think they will.
Yeah, they do look good, to be fair.
Yeah,
it's good. There's a lot of teams that's going to be interested with the Euro qualifiers, honestly.
Yeah.
As far as we're concerned, with the state of our football clubs.
I meant World Cup qualifier.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
I think they will. There's something about them. I was actually watching their friendly games recently for Albania, and I was actually impressed by the defensive structure.
Building on from obviously the Euros last year, which I thought they looked fairly decent as well. So. Yeah, yep. we will get onto that in due course. So if you guys
even Hitler has a good take now and then.
Moving swiftly onwards. Yeah, if you guys listen back on Spotify, watching live on YouTube, subscribe, do what you can.
Absolutely, please do.
Hell yeah. Anyway, aside from the Albania stuff, I can't even get the right words out, guys. But you can tell it's all been a while. There's only one thing to do.
That's our banter. That's our banter. When we attack nations that represent to us all, that's what you know that we're good pals. We do it for the love. We don't do it for the hate, except Julio's beard. I've missed you, brother. Do check out Red Brew Review, by the way, guys. If you are tuned back to us, he actually has been doing some good content recently. So he did do one thing wrong, though. His latest show. He didn't say get rid of all the United squad, so I had to mark him down on points. But it was still a good show, really good show with Brian. So if you do check that out on YouTube, Red Brew Review, honestly, you're missing a treat from Julio.
Yeah, make sure to check it out in the description as below as well, guys. And if you're listening back on Spotify, all the links are in there. So yeah, make sure you do it. Otherwise, we'll crucify you on the next pod. We absolutely will indeed. Anyway, only one place to start, lads. Heads or tails?
Tails.
Tails.
It's not a good day for heads.
Turns out it is a good day for heads. So the first topic then this evening is that absolute shambles.
Which part am I right again? Which part am I wrong?
It was basically whatever coin you flipped or whatever side you flipped, everyone was doomed. Because we're all going to have a moan tonight about everything, including the last topic, which is going to unite everyone. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to keep it very short, keep it very sweet, as a certain guy says from North Wales. What an absolute shambles of a club we've become and have been forever. Say it all the time. Vincent Tan is just an absolute disgrace. Omar Reza is one of the most useless managers, if you can call him a manager, I've ever seen in his life. Chucked in a job because a certain owner couldn't be bothered to pay off any more managers or even appoint one, which he took 70 days to put not even the assistant but the coach in charge. Players, absolutely useless, all deserve to be booed off, all deserve to be chanted, you're not fit to wear this shirt. I know I'm going to get heat for saying that, but they were absolutely useless against Stoke. So, and the club's falling apart. We're definitely going to get relegated to League One. In fact, we'll even finish bottom because Plymouth are resurging, which I can't believe I'm saying considering they had Wayne Rooney at the start of the season. As far as I'm concerned, minus the youngsters, I'd rip up all their contracts tomorrow. They're all absolutely hopeless. Salek, he's been decent, so if we can keep him, that'll be great, but he probably won't stick around considering he's been in Champions League recently. We've also got a Champions League player as well in Rocco Simic rotting in the under-21s with 0 professional appearances for the club. Shipped him out on loan even though he's literally playing for Salzburg. Is there anything else that I can think of? Yeah, more protests, more nonsense. Tan just sitting there, and in fact, I'll read him out a statement that he said in an interview as well, which is just hypocritical for the position we're in now. Yeah, November 22, he said this. I hear talk we have no plan. Do you honestly think I would have put in so much of my money if I had no plan? Do you think we are idiots? Yes, I think you're a bunch of idiots and need to sell the club tomorrow. So you're a bunch of frauds. I've given up with a club. None of you lot are fit to wear the shirts, and honestly, just go tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely sick and tired of it. If you think you're going to get good attendances next season when you have the likes of Forest, Birmingham selling out each week, everything, you're not going to get that down here. We're a fickle bunch. You're going to struggle to get 8,000 to 10,000 down there. You're an absolute disgrace, and you've just killed this club.
I absolutely concur. Now this is how we're going to do it with Nathan in terms of how I'm going to give you my reaction to such a beautifully delivered rant. I'm going to give you option 1 or option 2.
Option 1.
Okay, then. I'm going to do this right now. Okay, so you will get the snake reaction for this. Cardiff are really good, mate. Nah. Long story short. There we go. Little new part to the clan. Not the other clan, but the white clan. This clan, the white Pokemon clan.
The white clan. Jesus Christ.
What is this stream turned into?
Nathan, that picture I sent you, you might as well upload that now.
This one is fine. This one is fine. It's a white Gengar before anyone bloody moans. I mean, swear to God, people in their minds are so bad. It's clearly a white Gengar. I don't paint that. I had it specially made from my dad's PC. Oh, for fuck's sake!
So what who sent me?
Oh, I know that, but that's for him, not for me. Definitely not for me, thank you. It's actually it's a custom thing, by the way. Just to spiral it. No idea. My dad bought it, and then he realized actually he wanted an F1 Red Bull car inside his PC instead. So he's got an F1 car literally underneath his graphics card, and I was like, well, I want this anyway, so I got it, and it goes well because up there is still the Gengar photo that I've got up there, so it ties in quite well. Oh, late birthday present. I am no snake. I will rock your world if you want an advice tip.
For anyone listening on Spotify, Reece did stand up at one point when he mentioned the snake treatment, but no, he did not whip it out, thankfully. We are a PG show as much as we can.
That's not how
I think that's for a different platform, Julio.
It's
I think that's what Julio wants.
But Reece, I'm just trying to listen. Spotify listeners, all they heard was Reece saying, "Right, I'm going to give the snake treatment." So
that could have been many things. It could be many things. I like Slytherin. I don't obviously Slytherin at the Gryffindor, but I do like Slytherin as a house on Harry Potter, much better house. Or better yet, I'll do this old-fashioned way. I will quill pen you, and I will note you down how much of a fraud you are. Rio Ferdinand. Okay, so
we'll get on to Rio Ferdinand later on today.
Cardiff City on the other hand, this is where I absolutely concur with Nathan, and this is actually something that I've stated so many times, and I'm starting to sound like a broken record.
We all are every single month we get onto it.
But if Vincent Tan has such a plan, and he's clear that he's got a plan, and he's invested so much money, which ironically I've said for so long that he would actually spend, and then he done it to mask an issue with you guys. If he has got such a plan to invest in your squad and invest in your club in general, if the plan is there, why not actually action and deliver on your words? This is actually a very important time where if you have something you believe in, back it up. That's like me saying to Julio that I think Julio's a good podcaster, but then I don't say why. Like, actually present your evidence, present your meanings, give concrete information why you think that's actually effective, why this person is actually good. If you have a plan, if you've actually invested money, then invest more. This is end of the day, this is your business. And yes, the club might be for the fans, but end of the day, it's your business. You own it. It's your company. If you're not going to show how much it means in terms of the variety and the value of what it is to you, then let it go. If you're demanding over the odds, then shrink what you're going to get.
300 million.
Exactly. If you're not going to get anywhere near what you're demanding, then lower your expectation a little bit. I actually reckon for what he wants, I think Julio would agree. I think Nathan, you'll agree. I think asking for, say, 225 is actually more than enough. I think 225 million is actually valid for a championship club that's about to go down to League One where they shouldn't be. I actually think 225 million is also enough for a new owner to come in and immediately pump in 75 to 100 million to fix the infrastructure before you even get to the playing squad. Because at the end of the day, the infrastructure right now is so damn important to Cardiff. Because once you fix the infrastructure, then you can realistically look at the playing squad, because the playing squad isn't going to really do anything for League One. Because they're not going to care.
Just a reminder as well, and it still baffles me, and I mention it all the time, and I'm bored of constantly saying it. We have the 8th highest wage bill in the Championship. We've been plagued ever since we got relegated from the Premier League. I'm going back to the first time as well, by constantly importing useless deadwood every 5 minutes.
And you're still involved in that saga with Emiliano Sala, which is ridiculous. I seen your tweet the other day, and I'm like, I agree with you. Let the whole thing die and let the family rest. Like, why are you still demanding money from fuck knows what club it is? Like, who cares? They're like, you can't blame them for asking money, and you just constantly going after the club for finances is ridiculous. Let it go. The player died, unfortunately.
I commented on a few tweets saying, "Oh, Cardiff wouldn't have stayed up." All of these, but at the end of the day, we should be going after the Premier League, not Nantes.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you. Nantes are inexcusable. Not inexcusable. Sorry, inarguable. Their whole point is defensible. But they're getting nothing. These are getting nothing, dude. Maybe a congratulations for showing up. That's it. Respectfully. I think when you look at before even Julio shits on you, because what I've said is not as bad as what Julio's going to say, but I'm sick of saying that you have got money to spend, but your owner just doesn't want to do it. I would say 225 million is more than enough to sell your club. Because at the end of the day, look at Newcastle. Newcastle didn't go for much. I'm not saying use our Newcastle level.
Newcastle went for 100 million because, the amount of people I've said to this, if Vincent Tan thinks that he can get more than what the Saudis bought Newcastle for one of the biggest clubs in the country, he's absolutely deluded.
Yeah.
For me, it's going to be 50, 75 million max.
I would honestly say, see if he got 150 million. That's actually okay. But I agree. How can you demand 3 times the value that Newcastle was sold for? It's not possible. I'm not going to say this in a derogatory sense, right? But Rangers being sold for 75 million to the 49ers, if that happens, is actually more accurate than Cardiff being sold for anything close.
Completely agree.
Because there's more value there. But what I will disagree with is if Rangers go for anything higher than that, because that's incorrect market value.
Yeah.
I don't understand how Vincent Tan can demand 300 million for something that's rotten. And not in the sense of rotten as in ROTTEN, rotting. Because your club is rotten apart. And it's rotten apart because he's not investing where it matters. And that Salzburg player, I completely agree. Why are you not fucking using him? You would have immediately improved your squad.
Yep.
You are bringing in half-arsed players that haven't done anything. Turnbull has now went from a decent signing to rank rotten.
Yeah.
Aaron Ramsey, you shouldn't have brought him back to the club.
£85,000 a week, just a reminder.
He's on 85k a week, Aaron Ramsey. Yeah. For what? Killing celebrities.
And 13 matches played in 2 years. I love the bloke, but...
Scrap his contract. Honestly, tell him you are retired. Tell him you're retired. Or take a huge wage cut. Take 75k off your wage because you're going to be in League One, mate. 10k a week in League One, that's more than enough. You'll be lucky for a Bolton player to turn up and say, hey, by the way, you want to come play for Bolton? I mean, if there's any celebrities in Bolton that are close to dying, send Aaron Ramsey your way. But I don't know how you can justify all the market value. Find something to me that says Cardiff City can be sold for 300 million, and I'll actually say, you know what, fair enough. I would
genuinely, Reece, should we do a quick keep sell rip up contract now? Because I think it's going to be quite harrowing.
It's just all the Cardiff squad. I would say sell, apart from the Salzburg boy and your youngsters.
Yeah.
Julio, let's hear your thoughts on Cardiff. After he's done having a love fest over Barcelona.
Sorry,
I can't say much. I like
Dortmund are on the attack. I thought they might have scored there, but they haven't.
I can't say much. I like Hansi Flick. I've liked Hansi Flick for a long time. Go on. What's it? Still 1-0?
Yeah. Still 1-0. How do I put this? The problems, obviously, with the management, I've said time and time again. I will say it again. Cardiff are where they are at because, this is what happens when the board waits a month to hire someone after sacking someone. They don't. They give it to the interim geezer with next to nothing managerial experience in general, let alone at this level. And then he was a part of the coaching stuff where it went wrong for the previous manager as well. Yeah. And the board, for me, needs sacking for that alone. I look at the standings. You make shithouse a point on Friday because you got Sheffield United who are in a bad run of form.
Until Cardiff City turn up.
Yeah, 3 or 4 straight losses. The problem is Cardiff in the bottom 6 or 7 have lost the least games in the Championship. But apart from Plymouth, all the other teams have won more games. It reminds me a bit of Burnley when they went down a couple of years ago. They sacked Sean Dyche with like a month of the season to go. Didn't have loads of losses or loads of wins. It was just loads of draws. And that's what Cardiff have had this season. But the losses have looked piss poor. In the last, 5 games, I think 3 draws, 1 win and a loss. The problem is, I don't think getting a point here or there is going to cut it because it's very tight down there. You know, Cardiff are only 2 points above. 5 points between them and 18th. You know, Derby, I think, you know, you got Derby, Hull, Portsmouth, Stoke down there. All the other teams just looking better, Nick.
Yeah.
Which is saying something, because Luton are staring back-to-back relegations in the face, and Plymouth, you know, they're on. You know, the manager's done well there since he's been in there, but
At the start of the
You
season, they were embarrassing.
exactly. But I think what you've got is you've got an owner who's been there 15 years now, and
Yeah.
you know, obviously at the beginning, think of it as he's invested in, from a business sense, he's invested in a property, right? And that property has produced very good value in the first few years, even though with you know, high rent, shall we say, high wages for players, but it's become high maintenance ever since they came back down, because you've had a load of issues arise since you got relegated in 2014. In the last 11 years, you've had so many issues, and instead of properly fix them, he's either, you know, put it this way, like there's a big crack in the wall, so he's either trying to fix all the smoke alarms, try and fit a fire door, or fix all the lights, and there's still a big crack in the wall, and then that gets bigger, and then you decide to put a plaster on the end of it, but you buy some really expensive plaster, like really expensive plasters, or even just really expensive filler from Temu that's crap, right? The bottom line is now you're asking for top dollar because you're on a street with a load of expensive houses, but when they can go for good money because they're all in good nick, you can't ask for them. It actually reminds me of the place I lived in first year at uni. Carpet was smelly, there was no smoke alarms, no fire doors, there was screws in the doorknobs, you know, there was all kinds of wrong. It was really, really bad. And I think, you know, it got to a point where there was 2 ant nests in the house, 2 ants nests in the wall cavities. I got evicted from my room for a week into the spare room because of that. Not my fault. It's for the rotting wood and the state of the house.
That's disgusting.
That's when you know the renovation job isn't being put through properly.
Yeah. You could have called the estate agents who gave me that house for like pest control or for the exterminator. They would have probably come over. That's what they did in the maintenance of the house. You know, when like if someone's left the lawn looking really bad, the previous tenants have, they leave. You think, okay, we've got to make this nice for the new tenants. They didn't hire anyone to come and do it. They came and did it themselves, and they only did half the job, and they left a mess in the garden. And then they never came back to finish it. You had a shed with an open roof that rats lived in. Your little Mazda MX-5 of sheds, convertible roof and all that.
That's actually a great comment. The expenses are the problem of everything these days, and we see it ourselves firsthand. Like if you let something rot for so long, and you continuously choose not to fix it, you're going to be reminded every single day why it's not working, and hence why there's constantly chanting and demands for
it's cowardice to an extent, because you're sitting there hoping for it to sort itself out. I understand there is a reliance and there is a financial goal that football clubs have to become self-sustaining, which is entirely possible, but you've got to build the structure of the house to maintain that. You can't just decide, well, you know,
that's right,
in the wood or anything, let's just, I don't know, put something on it. Or it's not going to work like that. I don't understand how you can be a business owner, or from a business perspective, I don't understand how you can run a business where it's failing on its objectives on and off the pitch, and you let it get so bad now that you've basically ran it into the ground, and I understand you've made your losses, but you've got to cut your losses. You can't think you're going to get your losses back. You can't think you're going to get whatever, you know. You've ruined a club in Belgium. You've ruined a club in Wales, which for me has a lot of potential. Say what you want about Cardiff City, but I think there's a lot of potential there to turn it into, you know, we've seen it with the likes of Bournemouth, Brighton. You know, these clubs have invested wisely. What's his name? Bill Foley, the American geezer at Bournemouth. Really impressed with him since he's been in there. Seems to do.
Have you seen the new training ground they put at Bournemouth as well? That thing is insane.
That's how Tottenham have failed to get Areola as well. That's why they're going for Marco Silva.
The bottom line is it's a failing business, and you
Yeah.
can't sit there and charge prime steak for like rotten, out of date chicken nuggets.
Exactly. Like it's end of the day.
I agree with the valuation you gave, by the way, Reece. You know, Tan's asking for 300, 200 should be enough right now in the championship. They go down, I think that you run the risk of maybe losing out on more money. So this is all on him as well for selling himself short.
There's people out there that would honestly buy that club. Like we've mentioned a few.
He's had loads of offers as well, which makes it worse from massive investors. But it's the asking price and the way he's leaving it as well. Because at the end of the day, it's going to get
to League One. How many times?
It can get worse. It can get worse.
It can. It absolutely can, because this club will be in League One, and we'll see what's happening with Reading right now.
Yeah,
we can see. You know,
I actually think it will get. I think it may end up getting worse than that. I think the way it's going to go, I think Cardiff will get straight relegated to League Two.
A lot of people are saying the same.
That's what I mean. They'll be staring in the face of relegation by Christmas, and knowing Tan,
it'll sack the manager.
Keep the job. Tan will keep Rizza up beyond the summer.
Yeah,
and then we'll decide actually, 18th at Christmas. This is or 23rd or whatever. We might have to get rid of Rizza.
Because what makes it worse as well, I'm not sure how accurate this is, but it was on the forums. So apparently, from a source inside the club, if we do get relegated, there needs to be a lot of cost cutting and more management.
100%.
Management decisions there. But what concerns me about that, there's got to be a lot of player sales. We're only going to have freeze in the summer.
You're going to have a mass rebuild. There's going to be a mass rebuild.
There's going to be a mass rebuild, and it's going to be a disaster, especially if there's no money to spend.
Whatever you get, he's only going to spend a quarter of it. Yeah. He is going to try, and I'm just trying to think. There are plenty of examples of this has happened.
He'll mask the finances. He'll mask the finances. Financial negligence, you can get him sued on, to be fair.
Yeah. I think you'll get a load of free transfers. I think a lot of the younger players will start, similar to Fulham at the start of 14-15. Obviously they did sign a couple of big names like Ross McCormack, but then
not really a big name.
But in the championship at the time, he had a very high pedigree. He was very good in the championship at the time. He was very well sorted.
And what made it good with Fulham as well, they built the team around him, and I can't remember who the midfielder was as well.
But initially it was terrible.
Yeah.
They went down with Felix Magath. He was gone very soon after, and it took him a couple of years to recover from that. But
I think what's sitting Cardiff in the face, it's setting them right there in the face, and I actually think they should go for it. Nathan, you might disagree with me on this, and I'll be interested to see if Julio lights up like a light bulb or see what he thinks. I actually think, and I'm not saying this to protect money in any shape or form, but honestly, see this summer roll, and Cardiff should not sign anybody.
To be fair,
I think that's suicide.
You are right. However, we cannot lose anyone either, because if we lose major players, and apparently there's a lot of relegation clauses in there as well. If we lose players, it's like that. And not only that,
I think you will lose players more easier than I think even.
I don't think realistically
on the screen.
I don't think realistically, and this is why I say don't sign anyone. The reason why I'm saying don't sign anyone is because realistically, you can't afford to do it. So what I think you should do, any player you've got out on loan, any player realistically in your academy, get them in your team now. Even if you're risking an immediate second relegation, if you're risking an immediate second relegation, get these younger players in to your squad pronto, and actually just for the sake of it, build it. Because if Tan's not going to invest, you may as well just have a young team and just build it. Because another thing about that as well, the players that you build that squad around, if they also get you competitive enough in League One to get back into the Championship, those players are effectively immune to criticism.
Yeah.
Not in the sense of they should be criticised, but they're immune to criticism in the sense of actually, you know what, you've had no choice, so you bet on them and you're working around it. Now, a few of these players I actually know of right away, and I'm like, you know, I actually would invest in.
Yeah.
I would immediately get rid of David Turnbull because he's been bollocks for you.
Yeah.
But the top
Loads
player,
of injuries.
I think any high profile name goes.
Yeah.
Turnbull, Chambers, even El Ghazi, Gutas.
I don't think they can afford to. I don't think they can afford to lose El Ghazi, but I agree with you.
He has been he's had his moments, but he's been shocking.
Anyone with a big name, anyone with a name where Reece doesn't watch the championship, if Reece recognises the name,
yeah.
Basically.
Anyone over the age of 29, I'm getting rid of as well.
So we're gonna go Perry NG. I'm worried he's got a relegation clause in there.
Get rid of him
because he came from League One, so
he's gonna go. I think
he's
hitting
hitting 29 as well.
Money for him though.
He's hitting 29 as well. You're not going to get it by next season. He'll be 29 years old. You're not getting any money. Sell him.
We'll get about 2 million for him.
I wonder if one of the teams that go up, if one of the lesser teams in the playoffs go up, they sign him. So you can charge good money for him. I think I think what Reece is coming from with the the reason I think I disagree with Reece and I think it's suicidal to do that is because I've already accepted the fact that if you go down, you're going to lose a lot of players to other championship clubs.
Yeah.
And secondly, I've seen it before where clubs go down and then try and build a younger team, and they did it at Sunderland the first season they were in League One. Mm-hmm. And obviously they didn't go up for a few years, but it seemed all right for some time, but then it just wasn't working. But the other thing is you're throwing kids into senior men's football, especially in League One, where it is even more difficult to get out of once you get in there.
Yeah.
And I just think that
I don't think they have a choice.
I don't see Cardiff coming up unless Cardiff, even if Cardiff sign proven League One players in this current state, and I don't know who they're going to have as a manager. I don't know what the board is going to look like. There needs to be something encouraging there to tell me that they can come back up. Either that shit helps playoffs, or I don't know what happens. To be honest, I can see, 18th at Christmas, whoever you brought in, manager or whoever you kept on goes, and someone comes in, manages to steady the ship, and then, dark days ahead, basically.
Yeah.
I think for Cardiff, what they need to do as well, essentially, is they need to get away from using. Quintessentially, they need to get away from using a back five system as well.
Oh, it's awful! Every time it comes out, you might as well literally open the toilet seat, pee in it, and flush the toilet with the amount of goals that are going to go through a back five system. It has happened for the last 15 years under Tan. Every time we play the back five.
Let's see the
rest. It's funny because going forward as well, you open the toilet lid, but you pee outside the loo.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's shuffle these players correctly to their age. I want to see oldest to youngest on the squad.
Nathan, do you want to just get up a tier list for this Cardiff team?
It's not about tier list right now. I just want to see youngest to oldest for these players because realistically, I'm not going to get rid of them all, but I know exactly who I'd get rid of. Number 1 straight away, gone. So if I'm doing this correctly, gone, keep, gone, keep.
You get rid of your roles.
I think you've got no other option. Yeah, you put him in League One.
I think Annick stays. I think Rule stays.
Yeah.
From the top there, that's about it from what we can see currently.
Yeah, I'd get fair enough. Get rid of Goutas because he'll give you gout anyway. Get rid of
Collins.
Collins has been frozen out anyway.
Callum Robinson, get rid of him. Get rid of old Dowda because fuck me, what a horrible name. Get rid of El Ghazi. Get rid of that other goalkeeper.
He'll undoubtedly be on higher wages.
Get rid of Yaku Mite.
Oh my god! Just a reminder, right? 5 goals in over 60 games.
Yeah, get rid. Get rid of Perry NG because he's got some value. Get rid of Chris Willock from his loan because he's not that good anyway.
I think
the problem is not work.
I think the issue you've got as well is there are going to be players who you're not going to get rid of. I don't see anyone going in for Rinomota.
No.
I don't think anyone goes in for him. I don't think anyone goes in for him. I think you end up just getting lumbered with him. I think you can make some money back off Chris Willock, personally. Yeah. If he stays, he'll be your best player, but he won't last past January.
Season, definitely.
Even though it kind of
you can make some money off as well. Turnbull, definitely.
Yusuf Salek's on loan, isn't he?
No, he's permanent.
Well, there you go. And his market value is going up. Honestly, I would tempt
Cash in.
maybe.
I think you'd cash in on that.
Hey, amazing. How are you? Ruben Colwell is somebody you fundamentally cannot get rid of.
Build. Colwell is the face of the new project.
Yeah.
I would build a team around a core group of, if you don't get rid of him, Salic is your striker, Ruben Colwell is that attacking base, Manswerk in midfield.
I don't even know how he signed him in the Championship. That is
he's only
ridiculous.
on loan, isn't
He is, yeah. He's
I don't
only
think
on
he
loan.
sticks around. He definitely goes to another
Will
team in
Fish.
Europe, maybe in Belgium.
Will Fish and Alex Robertson, that's your core.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell you managed to say Alex Robertson as well, because he's actually a decent player.
Robertson
been
goes,
excellent.
I think I see another Championship club, or even Celtic.
I need
That
to
kind
praise
of
them
move.
tonight as well, which is disgusting. Ollie Tanner, I don't know. Keane Rashford's value is going up, so I would keep him for now.
He's another one to build around. It's just him and where is he? Same position.
That's good though, because that
That's
means
very
you can
good.
especially for the demand league, rotate them both. Rocco Simic, at steady value, I would keep him.
Mm.
Yeah, he went there permanently from Hibs. And thanks very much, Maisie. That's very kind.
Legends.
Hello, Maze.
Yeah,
I
he's been decent
gladly
as well,
take-
to be fair, mate.
I gladly take the number one spot. Yeah, he went to
Number
Hibs
one
and then
loser.
Hibs sold him permanently. Shut up, bitch. To be fair, Hibs sold him and then Hibs got better. Not saying that I like Will. I'm not saying that negative to Will Fish, but I do rate Will Fish. But
Reece and his negativity, man. Honestly.
Here's a fun fact. Hibs are 17 games unbeaten, which is a club record for them.
There is something I wanted to ask here about Cardiff's financial situation. Nathan, is there anywhere that shows what the
Right
club is
beside
like
it.
financially?
Just look at beside it as well. Look at that. That's horrible.
I meant like in terms of like debt and stuff.
I think it's at £110 million at the moment.
£110 million debt. Okay.
It's almost as if 225 million is a valuable fee, because it already wipes out the debt, and then you can spend it on the squad. If you're going to build a League One squad, you only need to spend 5 million,
if that, really. And literally, if you just keep the likes of Salec's very good player, Ruben Colwell is just too good for League One at the end of the day.
I've seen him play international. I do like him.
I don't think he goes. I don't think he goes.
I'd honestly have him at Rangers. That's how much I rate him.
Yeah, because Jurgen Klopp was sniffing around him as well a couple of years back.
Yeah. Ollie Tanner, Will Fish, Robertson, Simic, Manswerk, Colwell, Salic, or whatever the fuck you call them. They're 7 players right away where you can go. They don't always have to be in the starting squad, but you can actually build around them. But Will Fish should be there. I mean, 22 years old, big centre back, and he can play with the ball. Robertson is like just under 6 feet tall. He's so good. Manswerk is just a brutal midfielder, but he can play with the ball. See, I watch these guys. You may think I don't watch, but I do pay attention to these guys because I actually do rate these guys.
It's just everything else above it.
I think in terms of what you would bring in, though, I think you need a mix of youth and experience.
There's one. That's actually.
Mike's gone, Reece.
Who the heck?
I didn't even go.
I said,
try that again, Reece. Yeah.
It's going wrong. We can't hear you. We can't understand you.
Yeah, you can. Don't lie.
Now we can, yeah. But
there, bitch.
No, it cut out again.
You're joking.
No, I'm not. I'm being genuinely serious.
Fuck's sake.
You see, I heard that.
Shut up. Alright, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Going on. Okay. You can't hear me. Just do that when you can't. Down. Without taking the piss, Julio.
I'm not taking the mic. You kept cutting off at certain points.
I might need to switch to the laptop at some point. Okay. Right there and then, I'm keeping Dallin, but then I'm selling him a year on. But
Good
Joe
idea.
Bagan, keep Joe
think you
Bagan for now and build.
Began will have to stay. Same with Isaac Davies. I think Darland. I think if a good offer comes in, I think you take it. If you get
so.
at least what you paid for him, if not more.
That on conversion rate. Say you sell Salic, you sell Dalland, you sell Turnbull. Conversion rate from the Euros. It's about 7 million quid. Straight away, you can invest that realistically into your squad, and you need to start looking at players that are like ages 23 to 27.
Lots of
They're
those
actually
as well,
going to
I
be
think.
they're going to be competitive. I think you are in trouble if you don't do that. That's why I'm skeptical of you signing any players. I think you just have to reinforce as best you can, but I don't know if you'll make some sales.
Yeah, I can completely agree with that. I mean, if I'll just quickly touch on before we move on to the other side of the coin toss, which is of course Manchester United. But yeah, for example, rivals this season, not even one appearance. Look at the money.
You spent €4 million on Dalland.
Yes.
Long behold, Reece Russell was right again. What is it with these spendings?
Yeah, I mean 500k on a loan fee for Kanga.
What the hell is that?
To
Let's
be
see.
one of the most fraudulent signings I have ever seen.
Wilfred
He was only
Kanga.
there for half a year.
We literally put him in the bin.
You
And then
it's
plays
fair-
in a park in Croatia, shoots, and it goes out for a throw-in.
Here's the thing. What I want to know is, I think regardless if you go up or go down, who comes in? Because you're not keeping Rizza for another year.
Then again,
I've-
he is Tan's puppet.
If Omar Rizzo likes Tan's hand up his ass, then yeah, maybe he will do some puppetry.
Oh, Jesus.
I think if you have to be realistic, I think now's the best time for Cardiff to make an absolute wild choice as manager, but go for it. Give the job to Gary Cooper. Sorry, Gary O'Neill. Cooper can come later. I had to say that to wind him up because he gets the first part, but he gets the second half, the shit side. I don't think you're going to get Steve Cooper. I don't think you're going to get Rob Edwards.
Another interesting one on the Central Stand podcast. Who was it? I think it was Johnny Wilkins. So he went and saw. I think it was Tony. Yeah, it was Tony Mowbray. I can't remember if it was at Sunderland or Middlesbrough. He has a
Good
photo.
shout.
Does the general thing. He was like, "Mr. Mowbray, would you manage Cardiff City?" His face was a picture. So what do all these managers know that we don't? Reference the ownership.
They know how shit it is.
Yes.
To be fair, knowing Tan, he'll probably look for some cheap import from League Two as a manager and say it's some young hipster who's going to take them
He'll
forward.
probably, you know how sad I think Vincent Tan is? This is how bad I think Vincent Tan is. Vincent Tan would probably give the job to someone from a third world country, and then he would claim that he's helping out the needy.
Probably, yeah.
100%. He will one day be watching Soccerade, and he'll go, which country's been less helped the most? I'm going to bring in someone and give them the Cardiff job.
Do you know what? He'll have seen this if Plymouth, especially if Plymouth stay up, but the resurgence Plymouth have had, he'll see that the manager had been sacked from the Belgian Pro League only 2 or 3 months prior to his appointment at Plymouth.
Who is the Plymouth manager?
Can't remember
Ruslic.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that he came from Belgium, Tan will think, "Oh, Belgium. Well, I've got a club there. Let me go find someone there to manage."
Bearing in mind, I've just sacked 2 managers over at that club as well.
It's not a success to use that league, though. I mean, I can say that from experience.
Just another example of another Vincent Tan club that he no longer owns. He also got Sarajevo, the biggest club in Bosnia. Obviously, used to be winning league titles. Now they're just bang average, mid to lower table in the top flight. Another club killed.
He is in the business for destruction. I don't know why he doesn't own a company that just destroys things.
Exactly.
He would be perfect for demolition owners because he knows how to destroy things quickly.
If you hate someone or you hate someone in their business, you call him to run that business.
Absolutely. That's why I would. Actually, I wonder, Vincent Tan, if you ever watch the World of Football podcast, send me your number so I can phone you. I know a football club that I think you should perfectly buy. They're green and white, they're shite, and they're from Glasgow. I think that'll be the perfect place for you.
He's just trying to pile in more misery for me.
No.
But this is another thing I'll get on with just our ownership in general for the last 20 years. So
yes,
Sam Hammam comes in. He's got half-built house with good foundations. He builds the house up, lots of investment with money. And then all of a sudden, he's like, right, let's get the best oven in the world, get all the fans on side. Let's invest 2 years' worth of season ticket money so we can put loads of money into the squad and get straight up. He puts the world's biggest oven in the house and sets it on fire. Then you get Peter Ridsdale, who comes in, gets a fire extinguisher, tries to extinguish it, and then brings the wrong fire extinguisher to the house.
And then you've got Dion
in the fire.
And then you've got, I can talk about it. But then you've got Dion Dublin on the side who says, guys, it's a bargain.
Homes Under the Hammer with Vincent Tan.
Oh, that's so getting done with AI later.
Speaking of, actually, Reece, did you see my thumbnail for my tier list?
Yeah, I did. Why?
The Sir Jim Ratcliffe with the big house clearance, instead of
that ownership is going to fail again fast. That ownership is failing.
It's a disaster. But to finish off my top that bit before we get onto those frauds as well, Team Gee comes in, completely extinguishes the fire, builds a lovely house. Everyone's on side, season ticket waiting list, everything. Vincent Tan comes along, immediately ignites a fire. Neil Warnock comes along, quickly puts it out, but he says, no, Warnock was too good. I do miss a little bit of fire, and he just completely burns the house to the ground. Game over, story done. We're on to the next side of the coin, Manchester United. What an absolute shambles.
Absolutely. I have one last closing statement for Vincent Tan and Cardiff before we move on. Vincent Tan, whenever he makes a decision regarding Cardiff, I think every time before Vincent Tan makes a decision, he has a quick one, realises he can't go anymore, the partner can't live up, so he asks for his stooges to go, tell me how does it work, does it really work, and tell me what you want, what you really want. But he doesn't get the Spice Girls, he gets the Cringe Girls. That's Vincent Tan. Vincent Tan gets Benidorm on ice. He has the beef curtains. That is Vincent Tan. That is Vincent Tan and his ownership. TV references. I've been rewatching House as well, so I'll probably bring up a few House references at some point throughout the show.
Vincent Tan, the type of guy to class Benidorm as a holiday to Spain.
Probably.
But it's not Spain. It's just it's a little.
It's just an island
colony in Spain.
Blackpool with sun.
It's just something.
It's Blackpool with nicer weather. Yes.
And filled with more chavs.
Yeah.
Filled with more chavs and beer bellies.
Jesus Christ.
And a quick flight to Corfu on the side. Anyway, so Man United.
Where do we start with this one?
Let's start with the painful, obvious truth. Any Man United fan that says...
By the way, Slags, it's 2-0 Dortmund. And I'm blaming Dara for this because he has an ACCA that includes a Barcelona win. And if I know Dara, his bets are hit.
Just remember what I said before we went live, boys.
Yes, I do remember what you said before we went live. And after we went live, white supremacy.
No, I never said white supremacy.
Oh, the other thing, right?
The only supremacy I stand for is Gengar supremacy.
I honestly thought you were going to say the Maze supremacy.
The what supremacy?
The Maisie supremacy.
I don't know if that's a real thing.
No, I thought you were going to bring Maisie into this. Because every time she's obviously here, you're like, oh, hail Queen Maisie, etc., etc., etc.
I'm just hailing a good person, but if you want to make her supremacist, then cool, she'll gladly shut you down. She shut me down, boy. Hell no. But no. We stand for Gengar supremacy. You absolute dirty bastard. Okay. I've seen it countless times on social media, and it's something I'm going to address now. People are saying that Ruben Amorim is he is the problem. Now is becoming the agenda. He's not the problem, but he is contributing to a problem. Now, is he a good coach? Yes. But is he failing to learn a lesson? 100%. It's not even a 50-50. It's 100% failing to learn a lesson. It's every single game now, it's becoming a problem. Where United, under pressure, they're not pushing down on me, but they are under pressure. How can you continuously build from the back when you do not have defenders that can build from the back, and you do not have a holding midfielder who can drop back and give you the ability to build from the back, whilst your goalkeeper essentially looks two ways and still makes it wrong? Or then you bring in the sub-goalkeeper who hasn't played for a while, is constantly under pressure anyway, makes the same mistakes as your main goalkeeper, and then your idea is, let's just keep building up from the back, and we're still going to concede chances, we still concede goals, we still lose, and we lost to the one team that I hate losing to more than Liverpool and fucking Arsenal. We lost to the barcode bitches. Now,
it's been a while since we said that.
Absolutely. So why is Ruben Amorim the problem for that? Because at that point, realistically, you should be, as a manager, going, guys, stop building from the back. Let's just get the ball straight into fucking midfield. Just get it quickly. Instead, it's the same thing. Now, before anyone goes and says, but you never said that for Amorim, for Ten Hag. Yes, I did. Consistently. It's the same problem, and he's not learning lessons. Now, he doesn't have time with this squad to build his own. That's fine. But surely now, when you've managed this team since December, you should know by now, if it's not working, just abandon it for a bit. I'm not going to say, it's 3-0, I know. I'm not going to deny someone.
Own goal from Dortmund. Barcelona back in the game.
Oh, okay. I'm
2-1.
interested.
Now it gets interesting.
But how can
Villa
you...
level at 2-2 as well, by the way.
Interesting as well, even more. But how can you honestly say, from a manager who made so many tweaks and tactical changes at Sporting, how are you not making any tactical tweaks now with this United squad? They clearly can't build from the back. So why not just have this team play a higher line and just play a more direct style of football instead of playing a possession, slow passing game? Like, it's not hard. Like, I don't get it. I think he's got so much managerial potential to take this team forward, but if he continues to make these same mistakes, I'm going to be saying cancel his contract.
Yeah.
Like, I'm physically debating it, and I put it on before anyone says, "Oh, you've not been saying this long enough." Go back and look at my tweets from every single Man United game since he's in the past month or so.
There's evidence throughout at the end of the day from what you've been saying, and even then going back to Ten Hag as well, adding into it.
He was
literally crucified for trying to adapt to the league, not adapting to his principles. Never works with Manchester United. It's never been the philosophy. Whoever wants it to be brought in as a philosophy needs to be shot, and quite frankly, it doesn't work.
I hate that United are playing a possession-based game. It's not that I don't like possession, but I like it when it's used as an effective way to play a more dynamic, aggressive, direct style of play. If you want a perfect example, just look at Barcelona. They're playing the football that actually gets me enjoyable football. They're playing a proper high-pressing style of football. Like, what more do I need to say about that? Like, I don't think Ruben Amorim is enjoying Manchester as well. I think he's actually hating what he's done. The guy didn't want to come here for a reason until the summer. He has been shafted, and I'm going to say this now. See, in the summer, I'll be surprised if he gets some heavy spending. Can't hear you.
Villa 3-2.
Yeah, Collins has just scored, hasn't he?
Now, just watch now. This is when PSG are going to turn up the heat.
Yep.
But yeah, honestly, like, I think Amorim's got a tough job in his hands anyway. I also hate the fact that I jinxed the Lyon game, because I did. The two players that I said I would love to see in a Man United shirt both score. Mental, but sign them anyway. Sign Almada, sign Cherky, drop Fernandes in midfield. But I'll say this as well: his system's not working. There's nobody that actually seems to fit any position he's playing on the pitch, which is actually scary. If he wants to play this 3-4-2-1, then he really needs to get the proper players in the summer. Otherwise, he's going to have to change his system because it's not working. Especially because we're so wide as well as a system, as the base system as well. It's so wide. If you want to play your style, he needs to make it slightly more compact. Otherwise, where do you go from here? Like, where do you generally go from here? Because I actually don't know. There, I've said my piece. I think he's in trouble. I don't think he's going to get back to the summer unless something happens. But in the meantime, United are falling apart.
And even then, you've got all the nonsense off the pitch as well. Season ticket problems, price increases, Jim Ratcliffe in general, cost-cutting, redundancies, that BTEC Butlins of a stadium that's just been announced. Like, I've got my own opinions on that, and I'll just get it through quickly. At the end of the day, we've had the same mistake. Loads of other clubs have had the same mistake. Never build a new stadium. Always, I know Old Trafford's falling apart, but always regenerate where your history is. But yeah, just you guys are an absolute shambles.
It's sadly too late for the regeneration part. That's why they can't.
Yeah.
I think it's gone too far. If he wants his system to work, here's the funny thing. See, until he has more than one number 10 that's fit enough to play, can we just start having the two wingers actually, wide 10s play as wingers and just play a traditional 3-4-3?
Good shout.
Like, I don't know about you, Julio, but until he actually has more than one number 10 that stays fit, he cannot keep persistent with the narrow side of the system. He should just stretch it. Play the more direct attacking front three. Might actually save this fucking season. And stop building out from the back. Stop building out from the back. The next time a goalkeeper builds it from the back, hire a sniper, have them aim directly at Onana's forehead, and be like, if you build from the back, you're getting shot between the eyeballs. Just go long. For some reason, you sign a goalkeeper for his distribution, he can't distribute for shit. Make that make sense. Come on, Julio, start talking before I fucking have an aneurysm.
I don't disagree.
Lost for words.
I'm not lost for words, actually. I'm just trying to think what I can add to that, or where to start. I think I'll start with I'll start kind of with the game itself and discuss, Amorim's system. I think everyone has seen that clip someone's put about, Sporting versus Atlanta. Gasparini laying down the blueprint to completely stifling the build-up. And, I think the way to describe it is the rigid structure is very easy to prepare against. There doesn't seem to be any fluidity or threat of being disorganized. There's a lot of times where, because it works if you're going man to man against this United team. Iraola, Howe, Juric, Silva have all gone man to man in the high press. And the problem is the high press causes for the system to be incapable of finding the central centre back, who is the guy who builds from the back in the defence, and effectively makes him, less involved in the build-up, and it forces to play over the press. It seems United have no solution other than to play over the press, and they don't have the personnel that offer a threat there either. But even if they did, I worry that maybe it's going to be a bit too one-dimensional for this league.
Yeah.
The midfield seems so easy to overload. The wide centre-backs seem reluctant to step up, which allows forwards to drop into the blind spots of the central midfielders unopposed. And I think that Amrim's sides, there is a pattern that show they're largely incapable of finding that spare centre back in the man-to-man like presses. So the only other solution is to go direct, which we have seen from time to time this season. It can be effective, but I think it can be highly unsustainable and inconsistent, which I don't have an issue with inconsistencies, but I think I'll get to why I think it's a big problem in a bit. But play is forced to the goalkeeper or direct into forwards, and we're seeing the same issues in the Premier League week to week. I think the system's working better in Europe, which isn't so bad. But when I compare this 3-4-2-1 to what other managers do with a similar formation, yes, Alonso is something a bit similar formation-wise. Yes, Inzaghi has a 3-1-4-2, but those teams seem to have a lot more fluidity in the positioning. When they're in possession, it seems like Inter especially, they look at disorganizing the opposition's press with a few quick counter movements.
Yeah, they're the best for it. They're by far the best back three team in the world.
Yeah, and it drags markers into areas where they're not comfortable, which causes hesitations and exploits.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've said this on my channel a lot recently, and I've said it in a video which is coming out shortly, which is not shortly today, but in the next few days, about like what I think the 5 priority positions in this lineup are. There are more, but I think this summer I don't see us getting a player for every position. I think probably 5 signings without.
What's up, Curtis?
You're right, Curtis. And the statement I've commonly used is that in the criticism, I think people are forgetting how specialist 3-4-3 is. When it works, it looks incredible. But when it doesn't work, it looks like one of the most questionable things you'll ever see. Do you know what I mean?
It looks like a disjointed mess, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion, anyway.
I think the same data company. So Liverpool used a data company last year when they looked to replace Klopp, and the data showed that Slot would have the most seamless transition of styles between the two managers. And whereas for United, the same data company ran the data for Amorim, and it showed that the formation was United was the worst team in the league for compatibility with this formation. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's bad when you hire a manager who apparently statistically doesn't seem to fit the squad he has. It's quite concerning when Michael Jackson's race change was a lot more seamless than what we're seeing right now. And
that's a good analogy.
At the beginning, I said that I want a manager who can work with what he's got, because I knew that Ineos were going to be tight financially. They were going to be tight with how they would spend money. They were going to run with this sell to buy thing. So I wanted a manager who could show adaptability, a manager who can use what he had, and a manager who could come in and tactically, I already said adaptability, but the same again, like don't come in with an idea that isn't going to fit what we've got. And I think I like Amorim's 3-4-3. And I did think we would see some squad continuity. Statistically, I thought Martinez could play left centre back. Statistically, I thought Marcus Rashford or Garnacho could do the left 10 role. But I didn't think all of them, Rashford, Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, would all survive in this team in the long run. The problem is we're not seeing a lot of fit. And I come back to what I said about specialist profiles. Reece criticised me in a group chat the other day about using past anecdotes. But I want him to let me say this anecdote because I'm trying to present a case for Amorim to show that there is precedent for the 3-4-3 working, which was...
I'm mostly right when it comes to that, though, to be fair. So.
Steel chair was right again.
When Conte came into Chelsea, bear in mind, he came into a team that finished in 10th place the season just gone, but they won the league 12 months prior. He still went into that team and said, right, I need a backup for Costa. I need 2 wing-backs. I need 2 full-backs who are actually wing-backs. And I need a centre-half that's comfortable playing with the ball. And I need more legs in midfield. And he got all of that. He got N'Golo Kante. he got David Luiz, he got Marcus Alonso. Victor Moses came back from his loan, but almost was like a new signing. No Chelsea career, but seemed to be able to do that role well. And obviously, Batshuayi is a backup striker, and but he wasn't the most crucial in that team. But it was when they started with the 3-4-3. Eventually, after a few games, it worked. Now I get it; they had the whole week off between matches to rest. No European football. But United, put it this way, if I was to look at the blueprint of that team, firstly, we don't have a Courtois. Whether you want to talk about ball-playing goalkeepers or not, we don't have a very good, solid goalkeeper, right? Secondly,
I would rather have a goalkeeper that knows how to command their line and can actually tell the defenders, you know what, you can go 5-10 yards higher, because I don't need to run out and sweep the play or pass the ball 10 yards. I've got the confidence to say, you know what, let the striker come at me. They've got no chance of beating me. That's why he's still the best goalkeeper in the world.
In terms of centre-backs, we've got Lisandro Martinez as a comfortable central ball-playing centre-half who can go into midfield. He's the only centre-half we've got that is so comfortable doing that. We've got full-backs who can defend as left and right centre-backs. One of them being Mazraoui, he's all right. I don't have any worries with him as such. But when you've got the likes of Luke Shaw who can't stay fit, that's a problem. The fact that we're trying to do a back three and we've got Lindelof in the middle of that back three, bear in mind, whether you like Lindelof or not, he's currently our 6th choice centre-half, which is quite worrying. Then in the midfield, we've got our Kante, Ugarte.
Amazing, straight up to the point. Man United, no comment.
We've got Ugarte in the midfield who, his role is not to start pinging balls left, right, and centre. His role is to be
but people think passes.
That. Exactly. I don't understand it, but the problem is we need someone next to him who can play the ball like Matic could. Not like a deep line playmaker as such, but someone who's actually good on the ball, can find those passes. We don't have a Matic. And then Dorgu's come in, good raw kid for left wing back, but we haven't got any other left wing backs. We haven't got any right wing backs. Ahmad was our only good right wing back, and he's out injured, and he would be brilliant in one of the 10s.
I don't blame you, Maisie. That comment makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I cannot do another year of Dalot as a right wing back, and people have been saying he's doing well recently, and I'm like,
I can't do another year. This might sound harsh, but I can't do another year of Dalot living on this planet. Honestly,
Dalot doesn't have the footballing IQ that we need.
He doesn't have the fucking footballing ability, let alone the IQ.
No, because the thing is, the guy he's such a bird brain. Honestly, sometimes
my brother, obviously you guys know, is highly autistic and is wheelchair bound. He could probably deliver a better cross than Diogo Dalot. Can he stand up long enough? But I bet he could do a cross better than Dalot. That's how shit he is.
The issue is as well, there was this narrative for years that Amorim was good going forward and couldn't defend, and it was nice that we had that little interchange between Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. But there's the problem. Amorim's wing-backs need urgency in attack. Dalot is always 10 yards further behind where he needs to be when we're in attacking transition, do you know what I mean? And the problem is that going forward, we look weak. We don't have much going forward. And then, if we're going, I don't like overcomplicating football. So let me just say this for the attack: we have no X factor in attack. Football, winning games, goals. We do not seem to have that. We don't seem to have players that fit the system. As much as I like Garnacho and as much as I thought he could do that left 10 role,
I think it's time to cash in on him. I think it's time to cash in on Garnacho.
I wanted us to cash in on him in January, not because I didn't like him, but
that says a lot coming from me. That says a lot coming from me, because obviously I've been a Garnacho fan since before we signed him, because I liked him at Atletico. I used to watch the Atletico youth team because they've got some really good players.
I think the issue we've got with the fan base, they overrate him so much, and I think they overestimate what he can do.
Same thing. That's the thing. People have got. We do this. Our fan base does this all the time.
Because he wears CR7 underpants, he's the next Ronaldo.
But Julio, I'm going to do this to you, but a player that you rate. I'm going to do this to a player that you rate so highly. Marcus Rashford is the exact same thing. And I'm not saying he's an awful player. I'm not. But he gets overrated so damn fucking highly. But look at him now at Villa. It took him, 3 months to score a fucking goal for Villa? No, I'm not saying
then,
it.
when
I don't have anything to
against
contest.
Chelsea,
I'm not saying it in
Rashford.
that way. I'm not saying it in that way, Maisie, that he's coming across a coward or anything. What I'm saying is maybe until the rest of the season, because we're not getting anything in terms of goals, the best thing we can do now until the end of the season is trying to stop conceding goals. So maybe add an extra midfielder into the squad, or drop Fernandes back from one of the 10s and just put him in the midfield till the end of the season. Put Casemiro or Eriksen in that holding role. Let them pass the ball a bit. But to be fair, I'd probably put Eriksen in there, but when you look at till the end of the season, I don't think realistically we can go with a 3-4-2-1 when none of these players are actually bothering. I'm not saying it'll make like in a way that he should cower to these players, but maybe tweak it till the end of the season just to try and see what else he can find or add to the squad.
Yeah,
he needs to add another attacker in there, I think, as well. Add a midfielder, put an attacker in there. Not Højlund because he's brain dead. Xerxes, I don't know. Xerxes and Garnacho as a front two or something.
Well, Xerxes. I like Xerxes.
Xerxes Fernandes is a front two. Fernandes playing as a
Xerxes
second
injured.
striker.
I don't rate Xerxes.
That's the issue. I think the thing with the attack is
I don't know. Either way. I've got no fear for the manager. I've just got fear about the fucking team.
Here's the issue we've got as well with the attack, because I'm seeing people all complain every game like Marcus Rashford would have scored there or something. Great.
It's always this pish.
But here's the thing. People are saying we're missing Rashford. No, we're not. We're missing forward options. That's why we're persisting with Garnacho every week. And the thing is, Garnacho has the old screamer in him and he has good performances from time to time. But the issue is the guy hero balls so much and seems to care only about contributions. The amount of times he has a loose touch or a defender's closing him down or both, and he shoots for the sake of it. He's not safe. He's not smart with the ball. He doesn't know how to keep the ball. He gets towards the box, thinks, right, I'm going to shoot here. No.
Remember what I put on my Facebook as a random post, and you immediately disagreed with.
What about Eriksen and Whippage?
No, Eriksen is a much better player at delivering a ball than Fernandes. And Fernandes consistently proves me right. You cannot deny it. Fernandes will try, if it's a dead ball situation, delivering a ball, Fernandes is fine. But see when it's literally a moving ball, Fernandes crossing the ball is like trying to race against a cheetah. You're already dead in the water. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not even a fucking. It's a fact. Even from if it's an indirect situation, Eriksen is fantastic at delivering the ball. When it's striking the ball at goal, Fernandes is fantastic at that. But our biggest problem is, and I completely agree with Julio, Fernandes shouldn't constantly be looking to play those high line diagonal balls. He should be looking for the simple balls that will actually get to the striker, so the striker can actually do what he's paid to do, but you can't do anyway. Finished. If it's not going to be the case, just put Fernandes in a second striker role and just stack the midfield.
I want to see I want to see a formation tweak of some kind, not to abandon the principles, but I think the multiple. Reece, I was talking to you about this in the group chat.
I fear for this whole situation.
We've had a number of issues in the midfield this season, whether it's become legs or whether it's creativity. And I think if you put another midfielder
it's so open you can fit a mansion between them.
Exactly. So to maintain structure in the midfield, I think you do a 3-1-4-2, and having the likes of, I'd like us even to do it because we've got no fit forwards. If we had a midfield where it consisted of Ugarte in the 6 or Casemiro in the 6, with Mainu and Eriksen, and then Bruno playing behind Højlund, like a 3-1-4-1-1, even that's wouldn't be a bad idea, because the formation never stays the same. In certain forms of attacking transition, there will be times where maybe Eriksen goes up as like another 10 next to.
I think. See, this is the thing when I see people. Yeah, like. There's something about them. There's something in particular that really does annoy me about United as well. And people are like, and we see in our group chat all the time. This is why I secretly smirk when I see Rashford prop in our group chat. Right, I am always smirking at it. Oh, we're missing Rashford in this moment, or Rashford would have buried this.
We're missing a lethal finisher who can play on the inside. Yes.
Yeah, but this is the funny. But this is where I'm going to get there. if Rashford would have buried this, how come it took him so long, and it took him a championship team for him to start scoring goals for Villa?
Yeah.
So clearly Rashford is nothing to do with Rashford. So that excuse is just out the way. That's a bullshit take.
And even then, when he played us as well, and look at the situation, not to bring us into it again, but look at the situation we were in, Rashford was absolutely diabolical in that system as well. And Villa played a full-strength side.
Yeah. Villa are a much better team.
Concerning.
With Morgan Rogers, Marco Asensio,
Ollie Watkins,
and Jacob Ramsey as your front four. Because they play that narrow 4-2-3-1 as well, which I absolutely fucking adore. That they're playing 3-10s. Marco Asensio has been perfect for Villa. I actually hope they sign him permanently.
Yeah.
But that much better. Rashford in the circumstance, if he comes back tonight, he flops. Sell him.
I don't see. To be honest, I don't see Rashford sticking around. I will say.
I don't know why people want him to. I don't know why people want him to stick around. These are the people that are like, don't succumb to Player FC or Player over what. But then they're like, but we don't want Rashford to go. I'm sorry, but David Beckham was my favourite Man United player. I'm not a Real Madrid fan. I did watch him play for Real Madrid, but I didn't automatically become a Real Madrid fan. I still watched Real Madrid before then. But it's the automatic assumption. If all you care about is Marcus Rashford, then go be a fucking Villa fan. Go and be a fan of whatever club he goes to next. But clearly, you don't care about Man United. If all you think about is, but Rashford would have buried this chance. Stop with the lies. Exactly. All
At
the
the
Man
end of the
United
day,
fans I see it
Rashford
now.
is not bigger than the club. Anyone who thinks that is not a Manchester United fan.
I literally see Man United fans on social media who are actually going, I'm off to watch the Villa game because Rashford's playing. Well, really, because I was watching the Villa game because Morgan Rogers was playing, who's a far better player.
Yeah.
Like, I actually rate Morgan Rogers that highly. I fucking love watching Morgan Rogers play. He's so fucking good. And I like Jacob Ramsey anyway, even like when he first started for Villa. But I think it's funny that Man United fans are going, let's go watch him because Rashford's playing. And I'm like, this is weird logic, weird mentality. You should be demanding more from your current players, not going, Rashford in a claret shirt. I wonder how he's doing today.
Do you know what? If Rashford had a Lingard at West Ham-esque loan, fair enough.
Yeah.
But he's not having anything with that output. I think the biggest issue we've got, obviously, is going into the summer, Amorim needs some kind of precedent to show why the board should back him. And there is precedent. I'm going to do a video on a case study of Amorim's time at Sporting. He did a lot of interesting things. Like, there was a big rebuild in one summer where I think 19 players left or something ridiculous in the first year. But Amorim needs some precedent on the pitch, because we can't. For the last 10 or so years, we have gone into summers back in managers and then gotten rid of players because they didn't fit the manager's system, and then we've gone halfway houses on the manager because we're not convinced if he's the right guy, and then we sack him, and the next manager comes in, and it turns out half the players we got rid of would have been perfect for this new manager. In this, I think it's ridiculous how Louis van Gaal had a fire sale under Man United with Van Gaal and Woodward. There was a 26-man fire sale thing for a rebuild. We'll get rid of 26 players easily in 2 years. Mourinho barely got rid of any players in his time at United, and then Ollie comes in, and then half the squad is gone. And my point with that is the fact that this team doesn't fit the profiles Amorim needs. Simple as that. Especially when you're looking at fringe players at Newcastle.
It's not even a profile thing. Julio, tell me, what are the 5 main components of a back 3 system, whether it be a front 3 or a front 2? What are the 5 main components of a back 3 system?
Strikers that score goals.
I said 5 main components, not a plain full obvious. What are the 5 key components of a back 3 system?
Centre backs that can defend the channels.
1.
Midfield that can also be defensively disciplined.
2.
Wing backs that really push forward into attack as extra wingers.
3.
Because at the end of the day, if you're just to jump in there, if you're going to use wing backs, then really, if you're going to play 3 at top, you need to have 2 central attacking midfielders so they can bring it in more narrow.
Players who can play on the inside.
Yeah, they
like
could
Pedro
pop
or
it on
Hazard
the
at
inside
Chelsea.
like they do, and then they can cut in, and then maybe even use like the striker as a false nine, or just target man who clears up the shots in the box. The attacking midfielders do the magic. Man up top cleans up, and then use it wide on the wings with the wing backs. You've got enough defensively with the defensive midfielders to push back, and then the three centre backs adds the support. And even then, you can use that the middle man in the back five to even join the midfield and push up if he has to.
Mhm.
It's a great system to use if you use it properly.
Exactly. So here's the next point. There's a few other things there that was missed out. Another thing as well, not just about creativity or who can play in set positions or who's competent at building the back. The other things you need are players who actually have got the legs to run, because it's a demanding system where you have to constantly be on your game in terms of running about. You also need players who are not just technically sound but also like physical in terms of they can push teams back. You also need players who are also spatial awareness, who can see gaps, who can exploit gaps and move in. But most importantly as well, from a back three system, you need a solid base structure even in the center of your pitch. And we absolutely do not have that at all. And I'll say this now.
Like crazy.
Yeah. I actually think, see if you want to fix United's midfield right now, if you put in someone like a Zubamendi, it's not going to happen. But hypothetically, you put in someone like a Zubamendi or an Emre Can or a Robert Andrick or a Hakan Çalhanoğlu straight into that Man United midfield, right in that centre position, the midfield is already got a fundamental component resolved.
Even other names, whether it's like the likes of Felix Nemecha or even Ugo Chukwu on loan at Southampton.
Or God Hillman.
More proven, but Ugo Chukwu, for example, I'm coming from an athletic 6'8" hybrid, you know, physical, strong.
I think in the summer, United
for a tall bloke as well.
I think in the summer, and I'd like to hear what you think of this, Julio. I think in the summer, United shouldn't be signing a hybrid. I think United should. I think personally, if Ruben Amorim is going to stick with 2 10s, then the 2 midfielders have to be 2 6s.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I think one of them a creator, like the deep playmaker. The other, your more physical midfield presence. Yeah, so you're still effectively using a box-to-box player, like box-to-box role, but essentially it should be 2 6s playing defensive midfield positions, not one playing as defensive midfield, the other's playing as just a standard central midfield player. They should both be defensive midfielders, but one of them should still be dropping back when the wing backs go forward, because one centre back's going to push forward anyway to create an extra overload.
I'd like to see us sign Palhinha.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind
want him.
I think United should go all out on the following positions: goalkeeper, defenders, goalkeeper, centre backs, 2 central defensive midfield players, and wing backs. I do not want to see United make a single attacking signing this summer, because we're not there. We're not there for it yet. If we really want to be one of the best teams in the league again and one of the best teams in Europe, that defence has to be seriously and properly built and catered to a back three. And I honestly see right now, there's a perfect example of a player that's going in the summer. Snap him up. He's called Jonathan Tah.
Yeah.
And get rid of Matthias de Ligt. Because I'll tell you, he's bad. He's bad for Man United as well.
Yeah, true. I think
massively.
I think the issue we've got. So, Reece, one thing you mentioned to me a while ago back, which I agree with, is United.
Angelo Stiller's another one. Angelo Stiller's another player I would sign. And maybe a little bit of Reinders, but that's too different. But 100% Angelo Stiller in midfield. Like, he's exactly the type of player that I'm thinking of. 6'8" hybrid, but he plays more as a 6 for Stuttgart.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not against a hybrid as long as like that, because I would also rather have 2 6s. You know, like because I think the Premier League is so physically demanding, And I think
Yep.
you can't afford to get caught open in transition. Like you
Exactly.
can't play 2 8s. Do you know what I mean? Or a 6 and an 8 in the back. I think you've got to, if you can play hybrids who are comfortable in the 6. You know, can play as an 8, but are more comfortable in the 6, not vice versa. And you know, I always bring it back to Chelsea with Conte. And the thing is, when Conte lost Matic and lost that creative ability in the midfield, he switched to a 3-1-4-2 to make up for what they lost in Matic, to make it up in the aggregate next to Kante. Brought in Fabregas and Drinkwater, or Fabregas and Bakayoko into the lineup. Not genuine out and out quality there, but
you make
he made
do
that
what you've
tactical
got.
change. And this is where I worry for Amorim, because I like the fact he's sticking to his thing, but you've got to this is why I said to you, I want him to learn from the likes of, you know, Lippi, for example, you know, the art of adaptation. You know, you've got to
Good
adapt
adaptation.
good adaptation. And I think, I mean, I'm worried about Ugarte just for the fact 60-70 minutes he keeps coming off the pitch.
Yeah,
That's worrying me a little bit.
I'm concerned about that.
But
I don't think we should cash in on. I don't think we should cash in on
no.
Ugarte. But
because he's one of the few role.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of the few profiles that fit the system.
I think Kobe Mainu isn't going to work as a 6. He's not mobile enough in that position, but I would play him potentially as one of the 10s. But here's the thing. If Fernandes is going to be... Fernandes keeps getting dropped into that 6-8 hybrid role by Amorim anyway. You could essentially start playing Fernandes in that role. So then you'd only need to sign the 2 midfielders that I've mentioned. And you can just rotate them around. Fernandes might be the captain, but Fernandes shouldn't be starting every single game now. Like, because he's actually burning out fast from his position changes. We need to start prioritising that as well. If he's going to be a 10, then stay as a 10. Stop dropping so far back and you're taking yourself out of the game. If you're going to play in a deeper position, then play deeper permanently.
Yeah.
I do slightly disagree with your notion about we shouldn't look to sign attackers, because I just think the crop of attackers we have aren't good enough.
I think our attackers are absolutely dreadful. I
know you do. I'm not saying that you think they're like they don't need improving on.
I just think at the moment we have to go from back to front first, not front to back. This is why we will continuously fall far behind. If we go, I'm actually saying this as a confident prediction. If Man United go in the summer, sign purposely design defensive midfield players, sign proper wing backs, sign centre backs, and get a goalkeeper and get rid of the deadwood from those positions that don't work, Man United finish in the top 5 next season.
I think the good thing is
with less goals scored. With less goals scored, by the way.
I think if United are running with this sell to buy thing, you know, I think I have one good thing I've seen about Amorim is I noticed it especially when I went to the Sociedad game at Old Trafford, and what he did was that he had like a 3-4-3 diamond. You know, Casemiro sitting further back, stuff like that. I like seeing, because you're asking Casemiro.
Those are good tweaks. Those are good tweaks. That's why I asked.
To stay back and be disciplined. You are working with what you've got to an extent, but you know, and I think to the end of the season, having Casemiro and Ugarte next to each other is not the worst thing in the world. But I do worry about, you know, the legs in that midfield, and we're playing like every 3 days almost, and it's not working. I
didn't realise they scored a third goal, Dortmund.
Yeah, Guirassy hat trick.
Wow.
To be fair, it is over for them anyway, because it's nearly full time.
5-3 on aggregate. Yeah. I think bottom line is
close. I was so close for that prediction.
United can spend money this summer. Let's say that they'll most likely have 80, 90, 100 million pound budget.
Realistically,
and factor in player sales on top of that. A 270 million pound spend is feasible, and the problem
that is so close. That is so close. I was just looking at the PSG score. I didn't realise it's how close it is to the. If they get a
whistle's going to go now, isn't it? Yeah, it's got.
Yeah, Villa need another goal. It's not going to happen.
Nice, full time. Whistle's gone.
Yep.
They're out.
Yep, Villa are out. Fair play. The best English team from Europe this season are out.
Yeah, shame they didn't win it, to be fair.
Carry on, Julio.
I think I do like the attacker links. I think we can, if we sell the right players for the right amounts. It feels like every season, every summer, we're going in like this is a big summer. But I think that I'm annoyed that we didn't sell Garnacho because I don't think we'll get as much as we maybe were looking to get for him in January. 55, I think, was the closest we could get to our valuation. I don't think we'll get 55. I worry that like we're going to get only up to 45. But here's the thing: 40 for Rashford. I don't think Villa get for Rashford. Actually, I think they're too smart to pay that kind of money.
I think Barcelona might try it.
But 40 for Rashford, for instance. Hopefully Chelsea sign Sancho, and then whatever they do with him is not our problem.
They can't back out of that contract. There's no way they can get out of that. They'll sign him.
And if they choose to sell him on, which I'm pretty sure they will do, fine. So that's another 25. And then you think these big money wages off the books. Garnacho, maybe, okay, let's say he goes for 50. What's that? 105 million? 15 million pounds on top of the 100 million pound budget. So it is there. I would like us to be smart with our money, though. As much as, you see, I really like the idea of signing Osimhen over Gyökeres, which I know is a bit of a hot take. But Osimhen is doing himself damage with his ridiculous wage demands. I think value for money wise, I actually don't think Liam Delap is a bad signing. I think gone down with Ipswich, release clause, £30 million. I think even if he comes in and doesn't do well, I actually don't think you lose money on him. And
I think he would be a bad sign because he doesn't suit the style of play that realistically we want to play. He's more suited to counter-attack in football.
But no, because I disagree with that, because actually, whilst Amorim was at Sporting, they were looking at him as a potential understudy to Gyökeres.
I'm still not sure realistically it would work for him. I actually don't mind Liam Delap.
I think Osimhen's the proven option. Osimhen is the proven option I would like. I think he offers a lot of threats, especially aerially as well. I think that goes a little bit understated here. But
Osimhen's at a weakness already if he comes to Man United. Mm-hmm. Because United, we've already seen this right now. Forget improving the defence, for example, because that's what I'm more important about right now. Forget improving the defence in the midfield. Who's creating the chances for Osimhen? Because Osimhen can't do it alone. That's why Napoli won the league, because he was getting created constantly by Kvaratskhelia. So who's setting up Osimhen? Is it the Tooth Fairy? Is it Shrek? Is it Donkey? Is it the fat controller? Is he retiring from working trains to coaching football strikers? Like, I don't see. I like Osimhen, but that's a genuine criticism about Osimhen that I have.
Yeah. No, I completely.
I don't think we should be signing Gyökeres either. And I'm a big fan of Gyökeres, but I think if we have to go straight back to the previous club that the manager worked for, then I'm getting the Ten Hag vibe.
Yeah, that's something that worries me as well. Actually, I don't want to keep signing a lot of Amorim's former players. Even though I did suggest Palhinha, but
if we are signing ex-Amorim players, I agree with Palhinha as well. But I'm only looking at players that make a lot more sense right now. So, like, forget not just Palhinha, but Kielmand or potentially Inacio or Quaresma for centre back. Like, I'm only looking at those positions. If I'm looking at the attack, I don't want to go near those players because one, we're charging such a high premium, and two, that gives me the Ten Hag vibe. Whereas if it's from a defensive side, at least I know he's serious with that position. In the attack, it's purely, I'm signing Gyökeres because I turned him into a 20-plus goal season striker. I don't think for it. I think United should still look anyway. I think the way things are going, I think I'm not particularly a big fan of this, but I think United might tempt it and try it. I wouldn't mind Jonathan David as a free agent signing anyway. Because then we sign Jonathan David as a free, sign Jonathan Tah as centre-back, both free agents. That's two key positions filled without having to spend any money on a transfer fee. It's just the agent fees. But then you can then invest the rest on somewhere else. 100% we need to get rid of Højlund, however the hell that's going to work.
Yeah,
I don't think Dorgu's going to work. I like Dorgu. Dallow's got to go.
I think we need someone more proven ahead of Dorgu.
Luke Shaw needs to be sent to the gulag.
That doesn't even include all the injuries.
so many players got, and I laugh when people think that Luke Shaw is one of the best left backs in the world. That's for me. That's when I know that when cocaine is being provided to that person, because he's absolutely shit. Oh, he's the best left back in the world. Highest ever amount of assists ever had in a single season is what, 7? He's the best left back in the world. Oh. Evidence. He's an absolute mug.
Useless. But aside from that, that's Manchester United for you, and I'm sure we're going to have probably another rant at the end of the season when we realise how few points you guys have collected this season. You're on 30 points in April, which is relegation form in any other season, which we'll get on to now. The promoted teams, absolutely shocking. We'll very quickly touch on Southampton before we get on to the last and entertaining topic of the day. Worst team in Premier League history by a mile, and are they going to reach the 10 points? I absolutely think they are. To summarise it very shortly for me, Russell Martin, you should have sacked him before a ball was kicked. What was the point in bringing in Ivan Juric? Useless. And they're going to be in trouble next
year. Same nationality between the chairman and him. That's the only thing I can think of.
Basically pulled the name out of a hat.
It's mad that Derby fans finally have something to celebrate over that record is potentially never going to be broken. It's mad.
I think they're worse. I think it's a worse look on Southampton than it was on Derby, because I think when you compare, of course you're going to it's easy to compare obviously the money spent, but I think when you look at supposed quality and the amount of players that were brought in, Southampton don't have bad players. There are some decent players in there, or at least, but there's a lot of like Derby, there was a lot of
but they still shouldn't be so far down points wise.
They shouldn't. No, absolutely not. They shouldn't be there. I think
even with that clown in charge of the start of the season, Russell Martin, they should still be at least 30 odd points.
Yeah,
which is ridiculously wild.
But the thing is, now the gap is getting bigger. Like, crap teams came up in 2004, for example, and went down with 33 points. Now teams are going down with 20 points, even less. Yep. And I think it's
like,
terrible.
For example, Leicester have been an absolute joke. Pretty well. Ever since they got rid of Cooper, they've been just, I don't even know how to describe them with their performances. Yet they're not going to go down as absolutely horrendous, like fitting in the categories with that Aston Villa team, with the Huddersfield team a couple of years back, obviously with the Derby team. They're not going to be put in that category. Yes, they've only got 17 points, but it's because the likes of Southampton were even worse. And we're not even getting on to like Tottenham, Manchester
Leicester have nothing memorable about them this year either. Every team that's ever gone down has had one memorable moment. I can't tell you anything Leicester did that was memorable or good. Like, there will be a performance somewhere. Even the worst relegated sides of all time. Like, we did that relegation show last year. Yeah. We looked at the last 10 or so years of teams that went down, and I think I can only think maybe Huddersfield was worse in terms of there was nothing they did.
Humiliated United, that was it.
Well, that was the year before, Reece. That's the thing. In terms of the year,
no, this is like 16 pointer. This was.
If in terms of the year they actually went down, Huddersfield didn't do anything apart from get rejected by Big Sam. Which
remember when they brought in Jan Sievert as well? Oh my god.
Like, who the hell is that guy? Why is he persisting with Ben Hamer in goal? And you've just accepted relegation at that point. So, and the worst part is Leicester got away with a points deduction this season, did they not?
Yeah,
at least until now. And the fact that they were still bad enough to be in this position. I mean, I predicted them and Southampton to go down. And if Wolves hadn't changed manager, I expected Wolves to go down as well, but they didn't. Vitor Pereira's gone in and done well. I predicted that Juric wouldn't last beyond the summer. I knew that between when he got hired and when the end of the season came, he would be sacked because Southampton weren't going to get saved.
And they've hired some random championship manager as well, which means they're planning to just get out and not learn the lesson. I don't get it.
Currently getting Danny Rowling.
That's who they've got,
Which he's done wonders at Sheffield Wednesday, which is pretty much patched up.
But can he make that jump?
He's doing, but it's
can he make that jump? Because we've seen it before. This team's going to go down with parachute payment money.
Yeah.
Is he going to fit this team? Is he going to have to rebuild it again? It was fraud enough that Russell Martin went into a team that got relegated from the Premier League, that obviously had been in the Premier League for a long time, lost a lot of players, spent a lot of money, and still finished third.
And bearing in mind, from the first season of the
up on what it
Championship to the Premier League team,
And if it wasn't for Leeds,
the Championship team would literally beat it 3-0.
The Championship situation is just so bad, like regardless, and it's what Southampton are walking into. The minute, at the moment, when you look at the teams that are coming up, Leeds are going straight back down anyway.
They've been shocking, the last since like March. They've been awful. Then Sheffield United, they've been terrible all season. Like any other season, they'd be playoffs at best, not even in playoffs. And then Burnley, where do I start?
I'm very confused about Burnley. How can they have such a record amount of clean sheets and that incredible amount of goals not conceded in this league? Like, seriously.
They only conceded 13 goals all season.
How has Scott Parker turned them into a defensive machine? How's he done that?
It's the same scenario as a couple of years back with Fulham. I can't remember if it was the first or second time they went straight back up, but he literally bored every single Championship team with their style of play.
It was the first time they went back up.
Yeah.
So they got relegated in 2018. Scott Parker got relegated in 2019. Sorry, Parker took them up, but he took them up via playoffs when it was not that much different from when for the team that went down.
They're not scoring a lot of goals, but they definitely are getting a lot of shutouts. But even when they're getting a lot of shutouts, I'm looking and going like,
it's been ugly performances.
They don't get a lot of goals. You're right, because I think you complain. Listen, I've complained about Sheffield United not scoring enough goals the last few games, hence why they've not done well enough. I've got to maintain they scored the same amount of goals as Burnley, so I've got to maintain that.
Yeah, and it's wild because when you think about it as well,
16 draws. Sheffield United have more wins than Burnley.
There's no way that'll stay. There's no way that'll sustain the Premier League if Burnley get promoted. They're on odds to get promoted, but there's no way that style will work because they'll just get picked apart by better teams.
The only scenario that's going to work for Burnley is if they do the Bournemouth approach. You get promoted straight away, and then you sack Scott Parker after. Obviously, they lost 9-0 and they just saw straight through what was going to happen. So,
which they won't anyway. They'll keep on.
And you bring in someone who will look to get results, keep you up, and then you bin him, and then you're sorted.
Yeah.
If they do bring Scott, if Scott Parker eventually does get them promoted, then you just get rid of him anyway because they know he's not going to do anything. Then realistically, you just look at somebody who's recently been in the Premier League and just give them the job and be like, "We'll back you."
Yeah, at the end of the day, Reece, is what you say all the time.
Go back to Sean Dyche.
Yeah. Consistent Premier League manager. He's just a shame that it just ran out of steam in the end with the players. But going back to obviously what you say all the time, Reece, it's these stripper managers all the time. Daniel Farke. Who else have we got? Scott Parker, Chris Wilder in some aspects as well. Molders, yeah.
There's another Croatian, Slaven Bilic.
Yep. Well, then again, with like he did do a West Brom, didn't he?
Even though he's doing alright at West Ham, he's still a stripper manager. Graham Potter.
Another one.
Like, just crazy though. Of the top 6, 3 of them are parachute payment teams. One of the other teams, you've got Coventry, and then you've got Bristol City, and then you've got Sunderland. Are the other teams in the playoffs? I hope one of those 3 go up. Yes,
Bristol City or Coventry. I'm happy.
If Sunderland go up, they are in huge trouble.
Yeah,
maybe, but I would.
No, they are.
Than Sheffield United.
They are because if they get up, Joe Bellingham is gone.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Joe Bellingham goes when they go up. It's not.
I do. Leipzig. He's Leipzig's top target for the summer.
I think he goes if they don't go up. But if they go up, he stays another year and then Sunderland cash in.
Sunderland are still going to get a fee from him in the summer. He'll still go. Promoted or not promoted, Joe Bellingham this time next season will be a Leipzig midfield player. To be fair, I'm all for it because he's an absolute baller. He's a good player. I'm not saying he's Man United quality, but honestly, he's another one who you could actually slot into that 6 role because that's what he plays, and he actually would
I was
make
going to
sense.
ask you about that because I
sense,
was
yeah.
like, where does he fit in? I think he can play anywhere in the midfield, which is quite.
He
good
basically
again.
does play that position for Sunderland anyway. So
Mm.
I watch Sunderland for him because I really like watching him play. But when you look at it, it's elements of that are important. There's a few other players in the Premier League that United could actually sign that we might actually improve that same position. And don't start with, he's going to say the guy from Brighton. No, I'm not. Unless it's Matt O'Reilly, I don't care about the other guy. But I look at the position, and United need to be cutthroat in the summer about that midfield. Same way about the Championship clubs that get promoted. They need to be seriously cutthroat. If they're getting promoted, make the effort to stay in the league. That's why I'm actually disappointed that Ipswich are getting relegated, but I'm not actually overly disappointed. But I'm just disappointed because they at least made the effort to try and stay in the league by the players they brought in. And I like the fact that they didn't back away because they're getting relegated. They're not going to sack their manager. I actually like that they gave him a long-term contract. I mean, actually, you know what? We're getting relegated because this year we've actually been really bad. We haven't actually done enough when we could have done. So we're going to make another effort next time. Ipswich will win the Championship next season.
I hope so.
Yeah, especially if they keep Kieran McKenna, I think they will. Looking at all of the rest of the quality of the teams, I mean, Wrexham, I hope to God they just don't go up to the Championship because that'd be the most embarrassing thing ever. Birmingham, you got to keep your eyes on, especially with the money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, like minus Ipswich, the quality is going to be horrendous next season. Just like this year.
Southampton next season. Just back to Southampton briefly. If Southampton want to get out the Championship next season, they need to stop playing possession football and go back to what brought them to the game that people enjoyed. Their high pressing style of play worked, and then they got rid of the guy who knew what they were doing.
The geezer, I can't remember what his role is, but he literally, when he came in, he said, if it ain't broke, maybe break it and change it.
Yeah.
And then obviously he sacked Hasenhuttl.
Yeah.
Sacking Hasenhuttl will contribute to their downfall, and I said it when they got rid of him, that was it, Southampton are relegated. The day he got sacked, we did a show and I said, that's it. Yeah, they brought in that fool who doesn't even know what football is.
Never a Premier League manager. Never a Premier League manager.
He's not even a football manager at any level anyway. Horrible. But Southampton need to go away from possession football. They're another club that doesn't suit it.
To save
Get
themselves.
away from exactly. Go back to what they did really well. Direct pressing style of play. Because they entertain teams, but they win games like that. They've got some good players to do that as well, so I don't know why they're not doing it.
That's kind of why they obviously looked at Jesse Marsh when they went down the last time round.
What a fraud.
The end. Because obviously he was part of the Red Bull model, but, you know, there's a lot better you could get. I mean, like, Tedesco's a free agent now, isn't he?
He's an excellent manager.
He's a good manager, yeah.
Belgium get rid of him was absolutely mental.
I can see it. I can see it being one of those where big name maybe takes a slight step down in terms of job, but does well there.
And he plays a very good version of the 3-4-2-1 as well. It's really good. Just problem is he went and chose the biggest bell ends in international football. He chose Belgium. Italian German, and he chooses Belgium. Dude, you've been punished.
Maybe he loves Lukaku as much as you do.
I hate Lukaku. He tried to drop Lukaku as well from the national team. They didn't like it.
Oh, wow. Says it all, doesn't it?
He wanted to play Openda as his main striker, and they were like, nah, play both. No.
Just a nah, mate.
Like, Lukaku offers nothing. Openda offers more.
You say that, I think Lukaku would be better in this system than Højlund, which says a lot because that means the bar is so low, it's at limbo right now.
Anyone can generally be better than Højlund in any system. A team with 9 defenders, a goalkeeper and a striker, and Højlund still doesn't fit. Because he'll probably try to play the German suplex role. And he'll mistake that for a front suplex because he's a moron.
Oh dear. Anyway, Who's ready for crucifying some people?
I'm all in. Let's do this. It's
I've
bully
barely
time.
done it to Reece all evening. I'm feeling charitable. These people
Well,
that you're about to bring up, Nathan, I won't be as nice.
That's because
So
it doesn't
long
work.
story short, we got a load of pundits here. Got a tier list. So I will say it. I won't really agree with putting any pundits in good, which you can all imagine why for obvious reasons. So got some quality ones, got some decent ones, got some 50-50 ones. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they have an absolute stinker. Not great.
Can we
Deluded.
call that instead of 50-50? Can we rename that to the Gattuso?
Of course you can.
Because it makes sense.
Yes.
Because people will understand that. People will understand. It's two T's, one S.
Of course it is. Quality spelling.
You know what's even funnier, lads? He's now linked to the Rangers job.
Oh my god.
It's almost as if I'm ahead of the curve. So is Marco Rose, which is absolutely weird. Good manager, but that's still weird. All right, we've already agreed before we went live. I was calling dibs on two clowns, and that's Ferdinand and Michael Owen. Horrific. Because one of them claims to understand football despite achieving so much in the game, but he's just a clear biased, over-clowned, overpaid fool. And the other somehow won a Ballon d'Or and doesn't understand English, and he's not a good footballer. So
Owen is on the left, second to bottom row, left,
Got
second
him.
one in.
Yeah, I would have gone exactly the same with those two. Ferdinand, some of his opinions.
Yeah, it's going to get a lot more interesting from
Oh
here,
my
but
god.
let's do this. Right. So now the official lineup begins. So, Nathan.
You know what? I'm going to give this one first to Julio.
Okay. So we'll do Julio down and you go last. Sweet.
So Enioluco goes in horrific.
No, it's just any list you want. Oh, good. All right, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've never met someone so... I would have put them in deluded, but it's worse than that because I've never met someone so like they suck so bad at their job and they play the race and gender card. But it's like you don't suck at your. We don't say you suck at your job because of those things. You suck at your job because you suck at your job. You've literally admitting to collusion of some kind on a talk sport radio show and expected no consequences, and then. When suddenly Arsenal do the deal, you feel vindicated and you call everyone racist when they're not. You fled the country because Joe Barton called you a crap pundit, and then you just play all these cards that
it's just the avoidance of any scrutiny. Like at the end of the day, that's averaging a goal per game.
How are you still getting work? Honestly,
it's embarrassingly bad on a great scale. I'm going to go for the best choice of them all, lads. Ali McCoist. Simply put, he's the best pundit right now in football. Well, has been for the past couple of years. He is top tier quality.
I'd put him in decent.
For me, he goes in quality compared to everyone else.
For me, he goes in decent. I get it compared to everyone else, but I want to say that half the time I listen to him on comms, he sounds like he's turned up half cut after being at the pub.
That's racist. That's a racial stereotype. I won't have that. Have that.
Where are the undertones?
The fact he said, "Oh, it's half cut," like straight from the pub. Aye, Scottish people like a drink, mate, but then he did that to us.
That's not the point.
Don't care. Overruled. He's top tier. I mean, come on. He is. Also, I'll say this as well. When you look at every single pundit in the game right now, name a pundit that's actually far more unbiased than him. There isn't one. No matter what team he's watching, even his own club that he supports, he is completely unbiased. Yeah. There's not a single pundit here that's actually capable of that. There isn't one. I don't know why Alan Brazil's having a shit, but that works.
I had to use that photo though.
Yeah. So who's right, Nathan? You're up.
Right, I'm going to crucify someone. I didn't want to have to start with horrific, but I'm sorry. I have to. The most arrogant, deluded, an egotistical radio presenter, and I don't even want to call him a pundit, on this planet. He literally brings, I can't even remember if it's Drive Time or the Late Night Show, on TalkSport to the absolute floor. This idiot.
That's
He's
not
even
who.
funny.
That's not the person I was expecting when you said Talksport.
Mm.
But I agree. That melon is
The
so
guy
damn
offers
shit.
nothing. The guy offers nothing.
He
He's
doesn't even
so
offer how.
deluded.
He honestly is the right guy for deluded. But I agree. It's like any Aluko.
Yeah.
Horrific is putting him in deluded is kind to the word horrific. He has to be in horrific. Julio.
What are the categories again? Can you scroll up?
Horrific, deluded, not great, the Gattuso, decent quality.
I'm gonna put someone in quality, but it's just my personal preference, and I think Nathan's know where I'm going with this because I absolutely love this bloke. I want to put Simon Jordan in like top tier.
No.
Just that it's my personal preference because I respect. I love the fact that he just goes on the same show, just will slag off anything.
Yeah.
But yet,
To be fair, when it
you'll
comes
say
to
I
decent
think
type of stuff,
decent is fair. I like listening to
He's
him a lot,
decent.
and I like the fact that he does.
If
The
you
only
had a-
bias he seems to
you had a-
have is towards owners. Like especially,
Yeah.
I've seen him defend Daniel Levy over the years, but recently, even he's been like talking about Spurs needs a change of ownership.
if you'd
Um,
apologise, if
maybe
you'd
think put him in the Gattuso though, because he does have a few stinkers from time to time.
if you apologise for the McCoy slander, I would have agreed with him because I was thinking about it actually. It's a top tier potential, but nah, he slagged off McCoy, so I'll stick with
I didn't
decent.
slag him off. I said the only thing that I hold against him is sometimes when he's on comms, he sounds like absolutely wasted.
Fair. I'm going to go for one that I actually believe this is exactly where he belongs, and there's not a way that I cannot ever change my mind on it. Gary Neville is deluded.
Thank you.
And I'll
Where is
say this
Gary
as well.
Neville?
He is third on the second. The third sec eye there. Gary Neville is actually, besides his life partner in the second row, genuinely the most deluded pundit and commentator in football. And also as well, there's one thing about him that I really don't like, and I've said this several times before on this channel. Ex-players should not be commentating on their own club unless they can actually properly display unbiased punditry.
I'm looking at this guy right here as an example.
Yeah, Gary Neville goes a step further.
Who the hell is that?
It's Fatty Lee Trundle.
Yeah.
Oh right.
Mr. Biavelli.
Gary Neville goes on a different tangent. Gary Neville decides, you know what, I'm going to go make sure every single opponent that's playing Man United, I'm going to make sure that I'm on my knees for them and I'm going all gung-ho to praise them.
Especially
and then
Liverpool.
He is so bad for Liverpool and Man City punditry. Honestly, it's ridiculous.
Gary Neville listens to "You Never Walk Alone" on the car journeys to.
I've said it before. I've said it before that Gary Neville is honestly. I think he's a Liverpool fan in disguise. The way he praises them, it's ridiculous. It's overkill. Like Jamie Carragher at least can praise another club for how they play, but he doesn't go like overkill on Gary Neville. But why they're both deluded is some of their occasional takes are just, you just cannot believe the bullshit that comes out of their mouth. And Gary Neville, it's always the same thing.
I'm glad Kara's going in deluded as well.
They need to go as a pair.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of biased things Kara gets away with, and I get really annoyed because if Nev said the same thing, he'd be absolutely crucified for it.
Oh yeah, and also to be fair, Jamie Carragher's deluded for what he said about Mo Salah in the African Cup of Nations. So,
oh my god,
but I don't know how Gary Neville can be in such a job that he's in when he moaned. He's so for, oh, United need the best in class and United need a change and all this, but he never opened his mouth so much until the Super League came through. So I'm like, mate, we know if it doesn't affect your Sky job, it doesn't matter. Just admit it. He does not care about Man United.
I would slightly disagree with that. Nev has said particularly Mourinho's last 3 months onwards, Nev said a lot. Nev was asked a lot and he said a lot.
Yeah, only because he was getting the opportunity to really speak. But when it really affects his own self-interest, that's when he makes a proper step up. He's so deluded. Look up deluded in the dictionary and you find Gary Neville right beside it as an image. And he's not the only one. I've got another strange commentator for deluded as well, actually. I'll be surprised if you guys agree with me. But carry on.
Is it me next?
Yeah, I'll give this one to you, Julio.
No, it's you, Nathan.
Oh, is it?
It's you.
Right, who we got on quality? You know what?
There's only 2 or 3 pundits that actually I would say are quality.
I'm going to put a bold one in here. And every time, I don't know why he doesn't get enough airtime, but the amount of research, everything that he does on teams and the way he comes across, very, very underrated. This man. Hal Robson-Kanu.
I've never seen a punditry with Hal Robson-Kanu, actually.
I think he's
very
actually
impressive.
I think he's quite good, to be fair. He's quite good for sports scene.
Mm. And he's been on Sky a couple of times as well, and every time he's covered everything, even Premier League, he's been great.
Yeah.
No bias. Perfect.
Agreed. Julio?
I wish Danny Higginbottom was in this list because his punditry is actually absolute quality. If you go back and watch some of the stuff he did for Sky Sports around 2018, 2019, he's so well spoken, and you can tell he does his research. He's not on here, sadly, but
no, there's another pundit missing. Actually,
I did think I missed a few.
The pundit that used to do the Man United games. He does like beIN Sports and all that now as well. He used to do the commentary for like MUTV and all that. What's his name? He done
Steve Bauer.
I don't think it's Steve Bauer, is it? Might be him.
I did have a name to put somewhere.
Steve Bauer. He's actually I actually think he's a quality pundit, to be fair. Because even when he was doing Man United punditry, he was always really fair, as well. I've always thought he was really good. But when he went to when he went and done other stuff like beIN Sports, like he really is good. And yet they still employ Andy Gray and his prick of a teammate.
I have an interesting one to put in. I don't know whether to put him in decent or quality. Liam Rossini.
Quality, straight up. I know obviously he's a Strasbourg manager now, but
no, when he was doing stuff with Sky Sports
detail
around 2018, excellent.
Yeah,
I think he's
anything. He really knew his stuff. It's so refreshing. I just found it hilarious that his dad did the punditry work on the Football League show in the early 2010s, and obviously in the late 2010s, Liam is doing Sky Sports stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. Patrice Evra in Deluded.
Yeah.
He is
in Deluded or not great, because I found he's had good opinions, but most of the time
he's had none. He's in the top 3 worst Man United pundits for me. Him, Ferdinand, actually 4, because Michael Owen depends on what side he picks. Evra, Ferdinand, Scholes, and fucking Owen are the worst Man United.
By the way.
No, I did. I was going to put Scholes in, but I didn't in the end, just because I don't really see him anymore.
He is bland.
I hate him so much. He's
horrible.
Boring.
You can tell he doesn't watch football outside of Man United. The amount of things he said about certain players, certain things
doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
I've actually just realised the best Man United pundit's actually not here. Owen Hargreaves.
So I didn't put Hargreaves in because he literally pops out of his cave once a year on BT.
He is generally the best pundit. He's the best pundit for Man United games, but he's the best pundit for TNT in my opinion, apart from Ali McCoist. He's right up there. So Patrice Evra Deluded. Like the guy just I don't mind when a player likes to talk about the pageantry and the pantomime of football and the atmosphere and the way that makes you feel. But Patrice Evra, honestly, it's like every time he talks, it's like he's mixing theatre with a porn film. The way he's talking about football, and it's over exaggerated. It's over exaggerated. And I was like, mate, nobody's here to watch this shit that you spew. We're here to watch football, not you talking about like nobody cares. And he always goes, my club, when we played this way. I was like, nobody gives a fuck. You're retired. Talk about the current game. This is not my Manchester United. No, mate, because your Man United actually knew how to play football when you got dropped too. So shut your hole. Like, his takes are weird because he tries to. I don't know if Julio might agree. The argument they had with Roy Keane about De Gea, for example, when he says a world-class goalkeeper, and then De Gea, Keane said it's just his job because he made that save from the middle, and he tries to obviously Roy Keane shuts him.
Yeah, Keane was saying De Gea is the most overrated goalkeeper in the league, and everyone's like, no.
But you know what I mean? Like, you know when somebody's not that smart or not that intelligent, that they just try to explain their point too much, and they add extra big words to try and make it stand out. Patrice Evra's that guy.
Yeah.
He's clearly stupid, and he's using big words to make it stand out. He's Gary Neville, but the French version. Like, it's clear obvious to me. Like, that's how deluded he is. Great player. Shit pundit. Right, Nathan, you're up.
Who do I go for next?
Fuck knows.
I want to go for the slanderer of Paul Pogba.
Yeah, the Gattuso is where I put him, to be fair.
I was going to put him in the Gattuso as well.
I was going to put him in not great.
The funny thing is, Gattuso's a psycho, but Gattuso, when he's not making stupid opinions about Pogba or certain players of an ethnic minority, his football takes at times are actually really good and insightful.
They don't tend to be biased either.
I put him in not great because there's a lot of things he said that are factually wrong. Like there's the amount of times I've seen him sit opposite Gary Neville and he goes like, the Glazers have spent £1 billion, but that's not factually correct. They haven't. The football club has spent that. The Glazers haven't spent a penny. And the fact I think
he's only just saying that based on the money that's actually being spent, where he doesn't know the ins and outs. He would admit that himself. But he's also saying that to wind up Gary Neville because he knows Gary Neville cannot take it. And that's pretty much what football punditry is nowadays. Football punditry is like being on a wrestling show. It's so simple. Like, I'll say one thing, I'll say you're a prick. Either you get annoyed or you'll try and react or you'll try to hit me and then I'll just deck you. Graham Souness is just trying to get a reaction to Gary Neville and Gary Neville just cannot take it, so he bites. That's why it doesn't work on Roy Keane, because Roy Keane's already saying, well, when I played for Nottingham Forest, I just tackled you, smash into him. Like, plain and simple, like, it's elements to that. But, fair play. But yeah, Julio, what you got?
Okay. Let's have a look. I'm going to put Neil Warnock in quality.
Yes.
Neil Warnock.
Why?
Because, firstly, for his anecdotes and his stories, they're incredible. They're box office. And secondly, you can tell that he's been in the game for as long as he has and why he's had the jobs and he's gotten as high up the pyramid as he has. The guy just knows football. You know, the guy's not a mug. You know, the guy knows what he's looking at. And
is he not a mug? I don't know, but the guy's got a weird concept when it comes to foreigners.
Brexit means Brexit.
I will never get over that one bloody interview when he talks about the UK leaving the EU and foreigners coming in taking jobs. I will never stop forgetting that fucking because nobody asked them.
Oh no, there was a quality one when he was on Sky the other week as well, when they were going through the Championship supercomputer, and then he just goes, "I don't trust the computer. That's a load of nonsense." This is obviously. And then he just said Sheffield United are going up, and it's just
he's a
always
psycho.
has everyone in stitches. He's just amazing. Like
you'll never guess what I've just read. Actually, funnily, I've literally just read this now. I don't know if you've seen this at all, Nathan. Cardiff City considering a shock return for Neil Warnock as manager to help save them from relegation.
So I actually know more to this. So Dahlman actually made an agreement with Warnock, but Tan declined it.
Lol.
Because he literally doesn't want to pay off Reza.
That makes sense.
I know, shocking.
Right. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to really think. I don't want to go after the obvious ones and pick them apart. I want to really split the ways about it. But I need to obviously pick females. So, do I pick the one that? Do I pick the one where like,
Oh my god.
Or
Reece, you sound like a really bad quota hirer, honestly.
I think out of the women on here, there is one for me that goes into quality.
No, there's two, for different reasons. For me, the only two women I consider the quality tier are Alex Scott and Laura Woods. But Laura Woods, despite her stupidity when it's about boxing, but when it comes to talking football, she's actually a good football pundit.
I was going to add Steve Smith in there as well.
Do you know?
Absolutely not.
No. I'd only put Laura Woods and Alex Scott in decent.
I think Alex Scott's probably the best. The reason why also I think Alex Scott's
the
higher.
Of the two.
Yeah.
I think she's the best one
because too high though.
I think she is that high because she actually puts the effort in as well. Like she actually comes in so well prepared. You know she's actually made an effort. I think Karen Scott
I think you put them in decent for me.
Yeah.
Woods and Scott.
Or at least Karen Scott. Right, I'm fine with that. Second tier, at least in the sense of it. But can we at least put the fucking one on the bottom row? Can we put her at deluded or horrific, please?
For me, she goes in horrific because the takes are shocking.
She is so bad. Straight away into horrific. In fact, to be fair, if you're being honest, we may as well just quickly scatter the women all the way. Quickly.
Yeah, let's do them.
Right. The one with the Ellen DeGeneres haircut, she's deluded.
Fair enough.
What's her face that used to play for Chelsea in the middle? She's actually not great. She's all right. She's not great. And then
Gabby Logan.
Just kind of there.
Gabby Logan is a Gattuso.
Yes.
Because international football, she's got good takes. Club football, shit takes.
Very, very hit and miss. I've just realised on here as well, I don't know why it hasn't imported properly, Garth Crookston on there.
Oh, that's all right then. Because I would have
I know exactly where he was going.
I would have had a fight with him.
Garth Crooks, oh, what a man. He's so funny.
No, I got to put him on.
Yeah.
He's that bad.
Well, I think if we have to add him, then we've already lost the war, so let's leave him. I have a pundit. Actually, I've got two pundits that are both deluded and horrific that putting them in either or is really tricky. It's Robbie Savage and Jamie O'Hara. Because we already know where Jermaine Genius is going. That's why I've left Genius for you guys. But
yeah,
O'Hara and Savage are both deluded and horrific.
O'Hara goes in horrific for me. Just the partnership between him and Jason Cundy's terrible.
Jason Cundy.
I think even O'Hara on his own is quite awful.
I like the fact that he tries to be so relatable to talk. Actually, hold on. Why is Gabriel Agbonlahor not here?
He is.
We want to bully pundits, but he's not here.
No, I did have him in the file.
Did you replace him with Sol Campbell?
No, Sol Campbell was meant to be in there because I had a funny one of Bonghor and his Villa stuff.
He is so bad. Who the hell is the guy in? Who's the guy in between Ian Wright and the ex-Arsenal defender? I forgot his name. Lee Dixon. Is that Loverface boy, whatever he's called? Matterface?
What, Warnock?
No, the guy between Ian Wright and Lee Dixon.
Yes, isn't that Stephen Warnock?
I don't fucking know. That's why I asked. I thought it was Sam. I thought it was Sam Twatterface. The only reason why
I'm pretty sure Matterface looks different.
The only reason I put we agreed on Neville and deluded Maisie is the same as Jamie Carragher. Their takes, especially for other clubs, are just so damn deluded that it's. Yeah. I'm happy to concede Carragher and Neville both got horrific, to be fair as well. They are both still extremely deluded, but they're also horrific.
I don't think they're as bad as the ones in horrific, though. That's the reason for me.
Carragher's that deluded as well. That he's got a job for CBS. Beside pundits are better than him, and he actually stands out. It's creepy.
Find out who it was.
Maybe that's it. Carragher's good for CBS, but he's crap for Sky.
Yeah, so Mark Chapman didn't import properly.
That's an alright thing, though, to be fair.
Stephen Warnock's next to him. Who's the guy in the middle?
I think that's a fair. Alright, that's a fair take then, Maisie. That's a fair take. Weirdly enough, I actually think Chris Sutton's actually high up as well.
No,
I like Chris Sutton. I
like, even though he used to play for Celtic, I actually like some of his takes because he's actually, when I've actually heard him commentate on Rangers games as well with Celtic, he's actually very unbiased.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's still, even though he still wants Celtic to win, he's actually unbiased when it
It's
comes
a
to
lot more
Rangers
fair
performances.
than I thought it would
I
be.
reckon maybe a Gattuso then.
No, decent.
Nah, because his comments when
No.
we were in the Premier League, I'm thinking of in a few other clubs.
Some of his comments are weird, but if you actually look at his takes, if you're having him below Simon Jordan, there's something wrong.
Nah. I
No,
would
he
disagree
goes
with
in
that comment.
Gattuso.
I think you've
Nah.
got him in Gattuso, yeah, because I do remember a lot
Nice.
of what Chris Sutton
Come-
did on.
He's
BT
higher than
Sport.
that. Come on, he's
Yeah,
higher than that.
Chris Sutton on BT was deluded.
Where's the tier list?
Yeah, I'm just putting it back now.
I've got Roy Keane.
there we go.
I actually have Roy Keane in decent. I have Micah Richards also in decent.
I don't know
Mark
about Roy
Richards could be
Keane.
decent.
There's a lot of things. Roy Keane says a lot of the same things, and it annoys me because Roy Keane makes a lot of comments about how, this team's not.
She is good. That's why I've got it in not great. I like Izzy Christensen. That's why I've got it in not great.
I've seen her. The problem is I've seen Izzy Christensen in men's stuff, and I don't like what I see. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The only
I've,
reason why, because Mays came back saying, "OMG, Micah should be in top tier." The reason why I don't have Micah in the top tier is because see when he's over exaggerating on certain things, it comes across as really cringe to listen to.
Yeah,
there's times
just
I've seen when he
that's why.
shouts his argument. He raises
And
his
it
voice
doesn't-
to shout the argument, but it
Yeah.
doesn't make the argument any
and
better.
that's what Neville does as well. But as a pundit,
like
I do
the-
like him. I think I do like his energy though. But
Oh,
there's times where
definitely.
it's so damn cringe, and I'm like, I just can't do this.
It is
I'm torn with
entertaining,
Keane.
that's the thing.
I'm torn with Roy Keane
The
personally.
thing you've got to
because-
look at Roy Keane is I don't think he's a Gattuso. He has a lot more good than bad.
But he's some of
I
the stuff
think-
he says annoys me because it's a bit like
Yeah.
it seems very one-dimensional. It seems very like back in my day we used to have honest runners. I'm like that's good and all, but if you
think
employ
doing that's
11
hard.
marathon runners, you're going to complain. There's no character. There's no genuine quality, which you complain about anyway. So
It's a lose with him, but he is still a good guy. You actually, the over exaggeration, I can let it slide. You know what? Fuck it. Micah and Roy Keane in the top tiers. Yeah, fuck it. I can take the over exaggeration and the mad back to the 90s stuff. Even though
At the
I'm
end of the
90s.
day, on top of that as well, you
Take
can't
it.
put Roy Keane in the same category as Simon Jordan.
I think you've got to put
Alex,
Thierry
and Alex
in
Scott and
quality.
Laura Woods. No.
No.
I'm sorry, but after, he used to be until he made that stupid take on Lenny Yoro.
All right,
Absolutely.
Looking back, that he has
because
he has the odd stinker from time to
And I-
time.
And also, we know that he's only a pundit just to try and bang Kate Abdo. Nah, that's not quality. That's
he's been a pundit
desperation.
longer than Kate Abdo's been about, to be fair. But
The
No, she's
majority
actually
of it
been around
is
a lot
on
longer.
them takes that we find.
Ali
Basically,
McCoy's
between
always
the
been number one
takes
for
and
me
the bad
anyway.
takes.
Ali McCoy's for me is number one regardless. And I'll
Yeah.
argue that with a pitchfork on your heads.
I
fact,
just
you know what,
don't
let's-
think you
let's-
can have. I
let's
don't
put
think you can
Izzy
have
Christensen
Henri.
up,
I
actually.
don't think you can have Henri below Micah because when I've seen Henri, he does give some football analysis, some actual insight. Richards doesn't.
Mm.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's do that then. Because to be fair, when you look at that thing,
So it's either it would, and I like Michael Richards. I do like him a lot. So it's either
No,
you have
put-
to
no,
demote
put-
him or
no, I
put
would
Henri
put-
in the top tier.
Both up?
yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And I think Ian Wright's the last person to go in the top tier.
Yeah, he's very good, to be fair.
I don't think there's any other pundit I would say is top tier, except maybe one. But I don't know what you guys think because I think his analysis actually. his
I've got
analysis
maybe
is
a
quite
couple
good.
more who can go up there.
I'm gonna say Steve McManaman. I actually like Steve
I'd put him in
McManaman's
decent.
takes.
I'd put him in decent. He doesn't. I've not seen him enough on BT Sport anymore. But I remember circa 2017, 2018, he was on a lot of pundit stuff. Not on
He is
commentary.
good.
And I liked him a lot, so I'd put him in decent. I
He-
wouldn't put him
he
quality,
is-
but I'd
he
put him
is
in
good.
decent.
He
I
is
like
good.
his.
I
Yeah,
find
I do like
Bangor
listening to him.
saying that.
Shearer's absolutely deluded, 100%. Yes. So is Gary Lineker.
Yeah.
You may as well put Lineker and Shearer in deluded now. And Gabriel Baumlahor is horrific as well.
And
I-
less said as well.
Actually, whilst we're here, you may as well stick in, just quickly for horrific, stick in Neil Lennon, Martin Keown, Robbie Savage, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Jimmy Floyd, he can surely go in not great.
Stick in Merson as horrific. Stick in Genus and horrific.
Yeah.
And
Merson is hilarious because I think I've only seen him say one good thing in all the time I've ever watched him. The guy does nothing apart from shout crap shit to pronouncing names wrong to all sorts of stuff.
But yeah, Steve McManaman at least decent then, and put Jamie Redknapp in not great.
I would agree with that because
I agree. Where is
he's not
Steve McManaman is third from the end on the second row.
Got him.
Yeah, put him in decent. He is decent.
Yeah.
Aye, he's a good pundit.
What do you guys think about John Hartson, actually?
I love John Hartson's punditry.
He's very good.
Agree. Yeah.
I actually think he's
quality.
He's borderline quality. Actually.
He is quality for me. He is quality. I think if he's not quality, he's the highest of decent because he's the best out of that lot by a mile. His punditry is so good.
I think because you got some of the characters in quality, he goes top of decent for me.
Yeah, and he gets it. You know what I mean? Like he understands
the thing is, every time I watch Hartson, I really like listening to him. It's like when he talks, I listen because what he's got to say, I always like. I'd actually put Joe Cole in decent personally as well.
Joe Cole's okay. Joe Hart's actually a decent pundit as well.
He's very good, yeah.
I like his analysis, particularly just the goalkeepers. I like how in depth he goes on a goalkeeper's performance and he looks at it as a goalkeeper before he does it as a pundit, and then he does it as a pundit at the same time. I really like how he splits it so well. It's really
good because a lot of people don't do that, and I think that's like a.
It's his USP, isn't it? At the end of the day,
I
think very soon, the more that obviously he's very new to it, he could soon be up here.
Oh yeah, I have to do this for the Fats. I have to do this because I'm a Federico Valverde stan. Sol Campbell deluded.
Sol Campbell without that is deluded. There's a lot of
after what he said about Valverde, he does not know football. Deluded piece of
Valverde.
He said that he honestly would rather have Declan Rice over him.
Mm-hmm. Is it
absolute? No, he just said he would rather. Shut up. He honestly just. Also, the fact is, he said he would rather have. But to be fair, I'm not sure if it's real. But he said he'd rather have fucking Odegaard over Modric.
That's delusional.
Proper delusional. Ben's he said he'd rather have Stone over an actual right back. Saliba over Rudiger.
Put Lee Dixon in horrific, by the way. The guy is such a bore to listen to.
Oh my god.
Oh, he's crap. Stick Danny Mills in there as well. Stick Danny Mills in there as well. His bald head is just bad.
I put Danny Mills in deluded, actually.
He's not as bad as some of these at the bottom.
No, he's not as bad.
I suppose. Let's see. Alan Brazil's not great either. He just sits there.
His shows were iconic.
I know, but he was
5, 6, 7 years ago.
Aye, but that's because he was on the early shift and too many people were having a shit at the same time, so he was at least helping you squeeze them out. So that's why he's not great. But when he got really in depth on somebody that he liked, though, I'll admit that was good.
That means surely he goes. He's in the Gattuso.
Go on, in the Gattuso. Harry Redknapp is horrific. I think as a pundit, when he was on, he was crap.
He's deluded. I think he's deluded. The only thing that stops him from going in horrific is the anecdotes.
It's like another Neil Warnock, but without like the football insight and just the sheer entertainment.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Wayne Rooney's an odd one.
Rooney's actually a decent pundit, I think, but I don't want to.
He's a Gattuso.
I don't know if I can put him in decent.
I was thinking Gattuso as well.
There is something I did want to ask you, Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
Where's all this Jason Mohammed hate I've seen recently come from?
I don't understand it. For me, he should have. I know there's bias here. He should be the next Match of the Day presenter.
Well, he's done Final Score for like donkey's years now. Do you know what I mean? I'd put him.
It's good as well.
I put him in Gattuso, actually. I put him in Gattuso.
No, for me, he goes in quality.
How can you
No,
have? How
as
can
a
you have
presenter,
him over
maybe, but in
Chapman?
general.
Chapman's better. Chapman's
Mm.
better.
Exactly. I would agree
Yeah,
with
Chapman didn't import properly. Go
That's
on,
because he
I'll put
didn't
him in
want.
Gattuso.
Anyway, Jamie O'Hara, horrific.
that.
Oh,
Horrific.
just put them together.
Absolutely.
The worst show on the planet.
What
Bill
do
and
you
Ben
think of
the
Ashley
Flower.
Williams?
I don't think he's
He's a Gattuso.
bad. I think
a
he's not.
Gattuso.
I think
There's
he's not
times where
great.
he says some real good stuff, you know.
I just think he's not great because he doesn't get enough time to do it on TV, and it holds him back from being a Gattuso. I think the more time you bridge a gap, I don't think he's there. But he's not as bad as some others. I just think he's not great. I don't think he's a better pundit than Jamie Redknapp, and that says something because I think Jamie Redknapp is honestly just trying to improve his modelling career.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that, actually.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Daniel Sturridge, on the other hand, I actually think is a Gattuso.
Yeah. He has some good takes, but
Just Sturridge offers something a little bit different. Not just
Yes.
authenticity and how he says his stuff, but he offers a different. When he had that argument with Carragher about Salah, I really liked it because it was a guy who was giving a better perspective as a player.
He really killed Carragher as well in that moment. It was exquisite. Let's see. I think this is very obvious, but Mr. Bent, he's deluded.
Darren Bent is deluded.
He
Great
is
Prem
deluded,
striker
yeah.
on his day, but the irrelevant.
he's a pundit. Awful.
Yeah, his takes are shambolic.
Danny Gabidon, actually, I did want to ask you about him, Nathan.
He's
Like,
excellent.
I do like him. I
think he's
Danny
decent.
Gabidon.
I think Gabidon's
I put
decent.
him in decent. 100%. I put him in decent.
On
Why
top
is
of that,
it
I don't
decent?
think he gets enough airtime either. Like, when was it? When he was on commentating on Sky, I think he might have been for a Palace match. Everyone was raving how good he was. He's amazing on Radio Wales. Obviously, I know you guys don't get that, but he's just so consistent.
Do you know what?
I think that's why he doesn't get enough airtime. It's because
Do
he's
you know
consistent.
what? Do you know what it is? Ollie's first game for United against Cardiff, the entire BT Sports show for that game, Gabidon was there, and there is a whole the whole 1 hour, 2 hour show after the game and before the game, I think, is on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
I remember watching it back years ago. It's really good.
Cooks.
Really, him next to Rooney was really good, and Michael Owen.
Yeah, 100%. The thing you got to watch though, he does have a bit of bias.
Oh, he does. He definitely does.
Stephen Warnock goes in deluded.
Yeah.
The only thing I've seen of him is saying crap about United, which no one's going to listen to him about. And the only other bit of airtime I've seen him get is this same podcast over and over again where he complains about Rafa Benitez not picking him for the Champions League final.
Which is a good thing. No, it's a shame, which would have been a bad thing because they would have lost that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good for his career because he wasn't that good anyway, and shit players don't deserve to be in a European Cup final.
I'm pretty sure he was part of that Wigan team that got relegated from the Championship 2 years after they got relegated from the Premier League.
He was.
Yeah.
Let's see. Big Beardy. Not
is that
great.
Joe Ledley?
Ain't nobody like Joe Ledley.
Yeah, he's a not great. I know Nathan's not going to like it, but it's true. He's not great.
I was thinking more Gattuso, but to be fair, when they put these two together, it is decent. But
I've listened to them. Yeah,
Ashley Williams does come out on top with the punditry.
When they're commentating on Wales games, when they're doing punditry for Wales games, they're good. I agree with that. But when they're actually just talking football on a club level,
do you know what I want to see? I want to see those two sat in a studio on a podcast just talking about the piss ups from Euro 2016.
Oh my god!
I don't think Joe Ledley would have the heart capacity to last that long.
I don't know.
He looks like the kind of bloke that's a heavy drinker.
Oh, he was. I was sat behind him. I was in front. I was sat in front of him at the darts. I've got a video. Got a video here because we're doing it all back and forth.
Sat in front of him at the darts.
Are you just telling us this now?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he was near me at a wrestling show, so Nathan
absolutely
does know celebrities. Nathan does know the top tier celebs.
I do indeed.
Right, let's see. So we've got Beer
Adrian
Belly,
Durham.
Davin Sucker's doppelganger, some random with a nice beard, that fat guy from Sky.
That's Joby McAnuff, isn't it?
That is Joby McAnuff. Straight to the top tier.
He's actually quite good.
He's brilliant.
I'd put him in decent, but he is quite
No,
good.
he's consistently quality. Like,
Yeah,
even though he has
I
the
like
bias to clubs he's played for, you'll like do a little joke and then you'll actually go on a really impartial view. I find
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. The guy right beside him, he is horrific. I don't care.
Oh, the Adrian Durham.
Yeah, he is crap beyond crap beyond crap. He has the Jermaine Genius, Michael Owen, bozo gene when it comes to punditry. It's so bad. I think he may have gave it to them. They were already bozos anyway. See, Beto completely understands. Proper machine, he gets it. The next 5, I'm going to leave it to you guys. I think they're all shit, personally, but I'll leave it to you.
Well, Clinton
Like-
Morrison could go in deluded.
I don't understand him as a human being. His takes are beyond saving.
Who's the guy between Beckford and I want to say is that Keith Andrews?
No, oh, this one here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Keith
Davon,
Andrews.
I thought it was Davon Suker because he looks just like him.
Who's the geezer in between them then?
Oh,
The
Nathan
guy who
Blake.
won. I thought it was the guy who was on
Yeah.
Britain's Got Talent. The comedian.
Nathan Blake. He's the he's another Welsh one, but
Fuck
he's
knows.
really good.
No idea who he is. No
I
idea.
have never seen. If you think he's decent then, because I've never seen him before either.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's so entertaining on like he's mainly on the radio and Sky, so
Right. Trundle can go in deluded.
yeah.
Trundle's just fat, putting all rivalry aside. Some of his takes are horrendous and his bias.
He's just fat and deluded.
Yeah. It's not even just that. He's just fat.
The guy looks like Davon Suker. No idea. He does look
I've
like
not
him.
seen. I've not seen much of Keith Andrews. That's
He's
probably
always
true.
on Sky.
I've not seen much of him.
I've got no idea who he is.
I
So
know
he,
he's always on Sky. I've just not seen enough of him.
What
So
part
I-
Sky is he on? Is he on Sky unaired?
he was. I think it's because he's at Brentford now.
Is
But
it?
for like a solid period of 10 years, he was like the main pundit with McAnuff on Sky.
I've honestly
Really?
never.
EFL, yeah.
I've honestly
he's
never
got
seen him
loads.
before. I've honestly never seen him before.
Fair enough.
That's awkward. Who's the guy beside him? Looks like he just came out of the gym.
Jermaine Beckford, isn't it?
Yeah, Beckford.
No idea. It looks like it's ITV, so he's already scary. So I'll put him in not great. If you
Yeah,
work
I
for
think
it,
the same.
if you work with STV, you're going to be working with Sam Twatterface. You're already compromised
Mm.
because he is honestly one of the worst pundits I've ever seen.
For Keith Andrews and decent. Right, let's zoom it out a little bit. See what
Aye,
we're
let-
working with.
Yeah, get rid of that bloody admin. That's
There is
detrimental.
some dross in there. Jesus Christ.
So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 pundits in quality. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and decent. 8 in the Gattuso. 5 and not great. A grand spanking 12 and deluded, and then what? 14
Mhm.
and horrific. Love it. Probably gets his football stats from SC25. Ouch.
Welcome in, Chris. Hope you're having a good one.
Roy Keane and Goat, Simon Jordan, decent. Oh, yeah. Reality is, I think where we've got them is the best place we're going to get them.
Yeah.
There isn't
I
really
think-
any questionable ones where you think maybe they could go one up or one down or anything.
I think we
You
need
look
to.
a lot of these, minus like the Gattusos and the not greats. Everyone
we
is
need to
just
include-
amazing or horrendous.
I
Mm.
think we need to put in one final category, Nathan, underneath
Mhm.
horrific. We need to put in one final category, and we need to call it Beyond Saving.
Yes.
And I'll tell you who goes in that category. So make this one grey, because it's greyed out. So Beyond Saving, and it's grey like their soul. Because their souls have been greyed out. So the following people going Beyond Saving: Ferdinand, Genus, Owen, Aluko, Kewan, Merson, Dixon, Agbonglahor, and Neil Lennon is
So
ginger.
most of horrific.
The reason why the ones above are in horrific is because
Yeah,
even
this is
beyond
exactly
saving
what
is
I was
enough.
That's
And is when she justified this, when she said, I used to ring up directors at other clubs all the time to get them to push moves through. Sorry?
Honestly,
Which
she
is
scared-
admitting to cooking
I
up
remember
deals.
that was a
She
goal per
scares
game
me.
comment.
She scares me. Actually, put Cundy and O'Hara and Beyond Saving too. It's only right.
Shocking.
There
Do
we
you
go.
Do you know what was worse though?
I
about
was the
that
first to say
Enioluco
that,
thing?
Bill. I was first to say that. That's where he belongs. He's absolute pish. And I'm a Man
Do you
United
know
fan.
the
I
worst-
can't stand Ferdinand.
Do you know the worst thing about that Enioluco stuff is the fact that she ended up on a show with Simon Jordan afterwards, and he
Oh,
cooked
yeah.
her, but he had to hold back because obviously the backlash he would have got if he
Yeah.
cooked her.
I think they missed a trick. I think they should have Joey Barton on the show.
Oh my god.
The weird thing is, and this is what I don't understand about Enioluco, right? Now, people have bizarre opinions or bizarre takes, and they can admit they're wrong.
Reece being one of them.
Yes.
No, I admit when I'm wrong on different takes, but not in the bizarre stuff, because the bizarre, I'm always end up being right. Luciano Spalletti, for example.
Mm.
But when it comes to Enioluco, when she says something that is way beyond bizarre, not only does she not apologise for being wrong, but she goes even further by doing what I said about Patrice Evra. She thinks she's that intelligent, but she's actually a dumb fuck, and she explains her point so far that she can't defend herself. Enioluco, she is something else, and not in a good way. Now, Laura Woods is something else. Notice the difference. Enioluco, on the other hand, awful pundit. Awful pundit. She should listen to Alex Scott more.
Mm.
She should. She should just go, I wonder what Alex Scott's doing on TV today, and maybe just listen for 5 minutes instead of going, goals per game. I still can't get that out of my head. I burst out laughing at that goals per game thing. I still do. I don't know how she could say that so confidently as a striker and still get it wrong.
I feel bad for her brother in all this.
Which one?
Sonny Enioluco.
I don't think he pays attention to her anymore, to be honest. I think he's too...
I think obviously for good reason. But
He's just
I feel
having
bad
a-
for him that he has to turn around at the dinner table when they have family meetups and be like,
He had such a good left foot as well, Sonia Luco. I remember his Rangers debut, to be fair, as well. Really, really good goal as well. I was mesmerised by him. He scored a quality goal in the old UEFA Cup as well for Aberdeen. I think it was like a 30-yard goal he scored. And I'm like, you've got some cheek. But he kept doing that every single season. He would find a game that just felt right for him, and he would just score a 30-yarder, and it would just be peak. And you're like, I quite like this guy. Quite like this guy. Finally comes to Rangers and he scores a double against Celtic in his old firm debut. I was like, yeah, I knew I liked this guy. Unreal talent. And then he goes down to England, and I haven't seen him since. He'll be retired now, but I don't know where he ended up after that. Didn't he not go to Cardiff or something?
Who did you, sorry?
Sonia Luco. Didn't he end up
no,
at
he ended
Cardiff?
up at Hull and he retired
So.
last
Oh, aye,
year.
he was at Hull, sorry. He was at Hull, sorry. Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hull didn't know what to do with him.
Yeah, I do remember
But,
that. That was a weird season for him. But aside
What?
from that,
What a tier list. Is there any others that we would consider changing? Quick, demote Thierry Henry. Quick, demote Thierry Henry. Nah, don't. He's where he is.
I'm joking. I think maybe we could get some more down from deluded to horrific, but yeah, I think actually no. Garth Crooks is beyond saving.
Should Shearer and Lineker go beyond deluded straight to beyond saving? Because it shows that they're now coming off match of the day now.
No, I don't think it's as bad. Their podcast is actually all right to listen to. Even if Lineker did interview Fraud Martin last week.
Micah Richards doesn't come off well on that podcast when I listen to it. He doesn't actually...
It's not the right setting.
He really doesn't fit a podcast. Like, he tries to make it, but you just know it doesn't work. It's like it's like Michael Beale trying to manage a football team. You know that's what he wants to do. He just can't do it. Then he should be managing a cafe.
He needs to manage a cafe with one table.
And right beside it, have a little car dealership called Beals on Wheels. And then Julio will be his first customer. And then Julio will remind him, dude, you're shit. I really want to see him on Deal or No Deal just once, please, just so someone can go, have you seen this meme by any chance? And just put it on screen, Beal or no Beal. See, that's why I'm the fun. That's why I'm the funny one.
Absolutely, bud. Anyway, lads, aside from that, oh jeez.
Whoever's funny, lads, what a comeback.
Okay, I know, we smashed it tonight. Absolutely smashed it. But if you guys have enjoyed it, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, do it, support the channel, and listen back on Spotify. That'd be appreciated. Boys, as usual.
We will be back next week, guys. Don't worry. This won't be like a random. We will be back next week. We're going to go back again consistently. We've just had so much on. Julio's been doing uni stuff, which obviously makes it difficult for him. I've been doing my channel, but I missed this channel, so I'm glad that we're doing this. My content will not die down, but it will quieten down from next week a little bit, just because the content will obviously change a little bit, because this is the big part of the year, but it'll get better. But this show, obviously, we need to find just a set day and just do it. Maybe if we just do I don't know if we do a late Tuesday night or if we do a Wednesday. We need to find a day just so we can do the podcast and just ram it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We'll obviously get that discussed on camera, and it might even be that we discuss it like maybe the weekend before and smash out a date. But yeah, we'll sort all the goodness on that backstage.
Absolutely.
But aside from that, lads, we're great to be back. We've absolutely smashed it, and I think apart from that, we'll see you all next time. Have a good week, guys, and enjoy it.
Bye, folks.
Live on YouTube. And listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.